Get in, nerds. We are playing Victoria 3. We are, you are gonna get up to a lot this, this session. First things first. Oh, we need to get you to be a protectorate. We're going to turn 2 Sicilies into a protectorate, and then we're gonna figure out who's gonna get Emilia. I think it's probably gonna be Sardinia-Piedmont. Provence too, although no, Provence is going to go to Occitania. But in order to do that, we need to get 2 Sicilies down to being a subject. And we are currently improving relations. What else can we do to get them moving faster? We can offer knowledge sharing. How's our tech spread? How's our tech spread? It's okay. It could be better. That said, we're pretty far ahead. So we'll give them knowledge sharing. Now, I have some things I want to get up to. Now this is unfortunate because I'm gonna have to. Netherlands is a major, so I'm gonna have to fight Netherlands for control of Para. But that's okay. And then it's only Amazonia that needs to be brought into our market. Have we still got a truce? We do for another 15 months. Alright. Oh yeah, we got our Gujarati national movement popping off. But I think they're going to go down in desire to be free because... Oh no, this area hasn't been released yet. Alright. They've just moved over. Okay, so we're going to... Did I not do this? Oh, now the Melanesian movement is in Iberian New Guinea. Well, that's unfortunate. That is unfortunate, but it is what it is. Alright. Gujarati National Movement, you're going to get is home rule. You're going to get home rule. And we can do that, because we're not in the middle of a diplomatic play. So does it really matter? Can I see which of these countries... 3 provinces in Gujarat versus... Oh, there's still a tiny, Oh, Dharampur is our... Oh, actually, hold on. This is very good, because we can actually grant Gujarat to Dharampur. Another liberty desire is very low. And that's the national movement dealt with. So, from here, let's figure out what our market needs. I've been doing this a lot, but there's going to be a lot of market management. Okay, so we need more, why don't we need more radios? Why are radios so heckin' cheap? Okay, Para backs down, alright, so that means we're going to need to fight the Netherlands. No big deal. Where's radios? Okay, radios are not actually that cheap. But they will get more expensive because we are going for national movement. I feel like the internet has one of those. Sorry. Not very cool. Darfur, Wadai, Chad, and Catalonia. But mostly Darfur. And there's film. Excellent. Yeah, very few in Catalonia. Alright. Stream Bantu, same thing. So next, we're going to get... We've already got scout cruisers enabled. Okay, so that's curious. Well, anyway, it is what it is. In any case, we're going to need to increase the size of our electrics industry. So where are we building electrics already? Stonks! There we go. Nice. I'm very pleased now. Will you guys be more profitable if you're producing rayon? Seems like a yes. Electrics. Where are you at? This is automotive. This is electrics. Okay, so we have a few in Madeira. Very profitable in Baja Andalusia and Catalunya. Reasonably profitable in Castilla Vieja, País Vasco, and Aragon. We'll just do... Actually, we'll double up. We'll do 20 levels each in these areas. It's about a 33% increase overall, and that should be fine. Now, automobiles. We need a massive increase in the size of our automobile industry. Let's build up 10 levels each in Valencia and Galicia. And then, where have we got... What are your primary inputs? Your primary inputs are engines. Okay, so we need it to be somewhere where there are engines. Great Britain claims Sunda Isles. Great Britain can claim whatever they like. Where are we producing most of our engines? Motor industries. We have some in Galicia, Castilla y Nueva, Alta Andalucía, Extremadura. Let's do Entredoro y Minho. This is a good place for an automotive industry. Let's build a nice, clean 20 levels here. And that'll be fine. And now we've hit an event. Authorial intent. A minor scandal has buzzed around the Progressive Party as a piece of reformist fan fiction written by Varfolomei Zaitsev has begun to circulate once more. Whilst enthusiastically written, that is the work's only merit. Yep, we're about where we were before. The plague of superstition and dogma was the end of the Iberian Federation? If it is so, then why are the trains still running? How could they possibly have required the coal to fuel it? Your propensity to butcher your characters for cheap tragedy is nothing short of shameful. And to make matters worse, why would Victor ever not pursue Estrid's affections when they've known each other for so long? Do you have no eye for redeeming romance? A tragic tale, but there's no reason to harass him. Minus 20% momentum for the progressives. This is Varfolomei Zaitsev's problem, not the party's. Half the loss of momentum, but he loses some popularity. Or, this quality is reflective of the conservative repression of the arts. Lose 10% momentum, but a 33% chance to become literary. Stop popping off. I'm gonna do the third one. I think it's fine. Zaitsev, did you become literary? Not even a little bit. Alright, I got a sound of another event popping off, but I'm not actually seeing one. So, will you be quiet? So this is the Melanesian secession, Melanesian national movement. Unfortunately, we're simply going to have to fight this one. Oh, I suppose we could offload this territory on Australia. You know what? We'll do it. State. Iberian Eastern New Guinea. Confirm. Not my problem anymore. Well, now who's mad? What states have you got? Oh, I'm holding some territory down here, huh? I'm not sure what that's about, but I'm sure we'll deal with it. For whom the bell tolls. The aged Felice de Sarda y Salvani, leader of the Catholic Church, has unexpectedly expired mid-campaign, robbing the Catholic Party of a cornerstone politician. The question of his replacement is now on everyone's lips. Unexpected? Bah! That old bag of bones was long overdue to meet his maker. It's about time that party saw some new blood. Go with the next popular candidate, they get 10% momentum, and a new character will replace Felice Sarda y Salvani. Or the determined but hot youngster secures the chair. I'm going to go with the popular but inept candidate. I don't necessarily want a determined but haughty youngster right now. Madagascar, you're a subject of Russia. I guess that's fine. Kirkland, you're still aligned with Great Britain. You're somehow... You are connected with them. You're connected to their market. Not through Gaza. Interesting. So, let's take another quick look at our market needs, because construction is actually going to sort itself pretty quickly. Oh, I can produce some more art by making movies. Movies. Film art. Alright, nice. That's made those very profitable. Don't look at the numbers. They're profitable. Trust me, bro, they're profitable. Alright, show me where we need more electricity. Not most areas. Castilla la Vieja, Alentejo, and Alta Andalucía. Not bad at all. Castilla la Vieja, where are we at? Oh wow, we actually need a significant expansion here. A 50% expansion. it seems like. So we'll put together a nice even 8 levels. On Tejo, we're only 1 level off. And then Alta Andalusia, we need a huge expansion, about 25%. And that is already started, but we'll add another 11 levels to go up to 50. The moving picture. The acquisition of film recording equipment and establishment of movie theaters throughout the Iberian Federation has led to a fledgling film industry taking root. When she was a young girl, she had been allowed to borrow a phenakistoscope. She had been allowed to borrow a phenakistoscope and found herself transfixed by the spinning disc, by the dancing couple seemingly turning round and round on it. Years later, she thought it a child's fancy, a simple illusion for a malleable mind. However, as she saw the projection of the train entering the station, she felt herself transported back to that moment. The magic was real again. Film is the perfect tool to capture the harsh reality of our age. Stronger rural folk and trade unions. Cinema should be at the forefront of storytelling, stronger intelligentsia and petite bourgeoisie. Or what political uses could we find for such an evocative medium? Free progress on mass propaganda. I don't usually use mass propaganda. I don't see it as a priority, so I'm going to make the rural folk and trade unions stronger. The rising of the women. The advocacy of Arabella Marshall has led to the Conservative Party gaining greater electoral popularity among women who rush to exercise their newfound voting rights. As we come marching, marching in the beauty of the day. As we come marching, marching in the beauty of the day, 1,000,000 darkened kitchens, 1,000 mill lofts gray, are touched with all the radiance that a sudden sun discloses. For the people hear us singing, bread and roses, bread and roses. As we come marching, marching, we battle too for men, for they are women's children, and we mother them again. Our days shall not be sweated from birth until life closes. Hearts starve as well as bodies. Give us bread, but give us roses. For the election and for the Conservative Party, 20% momentum for the Conservatives, and increased dependent enfranchisement. Or for the strengthening of Iberian democracy, 10% momentum for the Conservatives, 20% dependent enfranchisement. I'm going to do the second one. I want more dependent enfranchisement and less momentum for the Conservatives. I think that is going to be the best way to keep the country where it is currently at. They got a little bit of momentum, but the communists are still holding forward. Hazara. Alright. What else does our economy require? We're doing basically good for pretty much everything else. Could use a little bit more fertilizer. A little bit more furniture, a little bit more... Ooh, actually, shortage of munitions in peacetime is not great, but we are exporting some. Still need a little bit more lead, still need a little bit more silk, a little bit more coal, a little bit more paper. Paper is something that can significantly expand. So we'll do some furniture. Interesting. Groceries are something we could expand. Now, if we dialed back our liquor production, that would not... this thing says it's going to be profitable. I think it's lying. Let's build up more furniture production. Let's do 10 levels in Catalunya, 10 levels in Alentejo. That's 50%. That should be fine. Still need more engines, but that's fine. We got very profitable motor industries now. Let's do 10 levels in Galicia, 10 levels each in Extremadura, and let's do another 10 levels in Galicia. I want to build up the former Portuguese area. We'll do 5 levels in Madeira just to keep things clean. That's about a 20% increase. Now, we need more glass still. But where is porcelain on our list? It's okay, but we're still exporting a great deal of porcelain. So let's go ahead and increase our glassworks. Oh, no, I'm not going to do that, because I'm going to have houseware plastics, and that's going to be fine. Alright, production and agitation. I'm going to hold up, just for a second, for this to cross over the line and finish its autosave. Very good. Production and agitation. In collaboration with the Communist Party, Alberto Izaguirre has secured a deal for cheap and quickly distributed pamphlets in support of the party. The interior of the carriage held a pleasant surprise. A crate of several thousand pamphlets printed on an industrial scale, each with the instructions on the voting process and a cheaply copied logo of the Communist Party. They made a hefty weight, and he hoped would turn out to be an equally sized benefit. Bury our opponents in a sea of paper, 20% extra momentum, or these connections can be used later. He becomes ambitious. Izaguirre is the leader of the trade unionists and a Republican. As a roller, extra prestige from Army and Navy power projection reduced decree cost. I don't need either of those. Bury our opponents in a sea of paper. And that'll be just fine. So that should give the communists a slightly more commanding lead. Not that commanding a lead, but slightly more commanding. Yeah, the conservatives now are the industrialists, the petite bourgeoisie, and the armed forces all aligned together. Philip Joseph Nagelmacher's exiled from Luxembourg. He's a liberal from the intelligentsia. Commander commends civic coalition. General de Arriaga has made public statements in support of the Conservative Party, bringing into question the political neutrality of the military. It is my duty to defend the nation and its interests. Politics is as much a part of war as battles and logistics are. I don't see the problem with doing my duty and doing what I can to make sure those who are best fit to protect the nation end up being the ones in charge. He can say what he wants, 20% momentum for the Conservatives, or reprimand him. Good soldiers don't give orders, they take them. 5% of officers in the Iberian Federation become more radical. Or if he likes politics so much he ought to get more involved, he becomes the leader of the armed forces. He is a liberal. Sure, make him the leader of the armed forces. Let's see how that affects our armies. I think no, they're doing good on command capacity. Alright, so that should be fine. That should be just fine. The Melanesian National Movement will only pop off in null state, and I'm not worried about that at all. That means that'll basically sort itself out. So I'm not going to worry too much about that. We're almost done with our cathedral here. And I'm just going to hover over the pause button to make sure that if an event appears at the latest possible moment, that I'm able to pause and address it. And then I'll be good to go. Dang it. I'm going to need to take both. Well, that's okay. That's okay. I will simply go after them. Do they have any problematic alliances? Not. Oh, they have one with me. Well, that's unfortunate. Netherlands? And Prussia is going after Württemberg. Okay, that's fine. So, this puts us in a truce with the Netherlands for 1 year. Not a problem. Not a problem at all. The Russians and the Austrians are shooting at each other. They both got significant war goals. Let's see how it plays out. If I join, I could steal Oman or Madagascar. Is anyone else likely to step in? The Prussians might. We'll see what happens. I'll keep a close eye on the situation. There we go. As their ally. Beautiful. So, let's get the lads together. I'm going to send in the first Iberian army to this, the main front here. Second Iberian army. Where are you? You're in South America. Well, them's the breaks. You're also going to the primary front here, and then the first Iberian X-Force, you're going to the Turkey front. And second Iberian X-Force, you'll also go to the Turkey front. Our fronts in Rift Valley and northern Colombia. Northern Colombia? Hold on. That's got to be somewhere else. Oh, here. Here, the Rift Valley. And then... hard to see. Well, them's the breaks. Alright, what do I want? Let me see. Does Oman have oil reserves? They do. I do want oil. So, we will simply add as our war goal the transfer of Oman. Tiny amount of infamy. Not really worth worrying about all that much. The Rift Valley front, we will send the 2nd Iberian Global Defense Force. There's Prussia, very good. To handle that. It looks like our subjects are handling that front pretty well. So that's fine. We'll simply allow them to do so. And now the front in Prussia is not going to be that big of a deal. Austria, I'm assuming you're going to send some... You're going to add some... Moldavian independence. Interesting. Oh, from Austria. Well, them's the breaks. Come on, Bengal. You sure you don't want to get in on this? It's going to be fun. Well, this force comparison could certainly be better, and I've got a lot of global defense forces, so we will simply send an army there to support that situation. We're holding all of Africa, so it's not going to be too difficult. Home affairs increased to 4. Wonderful. And we're already pretty much maxed out. I'm a little bit tight on bureaucracy. There have got to be places where I haven't increased my bureaucracy yet. We'll leave it at 3. I'm not going to be able to get there while I'm in urban, that's for dang sure. Ooh, I have a new production method available. Wonderful. Okay, Asturias, telephone switchboards. Castilla Vieja, telephone switchboards. We're losing money, but hardly enough to matter. So this is interesting. The end for now. Here we go. Another facade of the Sagrada Familia Cathedral has been completed, signaling the end of construction for now. The modernist architecture's extraordinary vision is a cultural touchstone here in Catalonia. After so many years of construction, the ambitious architectural designs of another facade have been realized. Foreign travelers who come to Sagrada Familia Cathedral marvel at the structure's unique style. 2 visitors stand before the newest addition to the temple. Breathtaking, one traveler remarks, unable to conceal the awe in his voice. His companion, however, looks unskeptically. Perhaps this modernist style is an acquired taste. Such exceptional art, extra conversion, and urban center throughput in Catalonia for 15 years, or a true architectural marvel, 5% extra prestige for 15 years. I'm going for the second one. I love prestige. Can I add more war goals? No, I can't. You're going to lose, Russia. It's not going to go your way. Krakow situation crazy. Let's, Oh, interesting. So the Austrian is in this, but I'm not. Well, that's okay. How are we with construction? I have too many construction sectors, my nerds. My economy is growing too big. Russia backs down. Well, that's exciting. Soon. I can't believe that the Netherlands thought that just because we were friends that they could just snag whatever they wanted to snag in South America. Actually, Uruguay, you're coming with me. If I do this, is anybody going to step in? Doesn't seem like it. Great Britain maybe, but I can take them in a fight. So we will simply send the first global defense force. No reason to get silly about it. They will guard that front. If the British step in, then we'll decide what to do. Wallonian mass immigration. Cool. Aquitania is almost at the point where they're willing to become a subject. What about 2 Sicilies? They are... they're moving downward. What The Melanesian National Movement. I'm glad they're done throwing events downrange, because those are annoying. Alright, we are still in a righteous government. We still have a very healthy number of loyalists and a very, very small number of radicals. Standard of living is off the charts. It's not off the charts. It's very solidly in the area of the charts. It's located where the charts are located. Dusty Sindis is going after your Jakarta. I don't need to deal with that. Some kind of situation in Brunswick that I'm too Iberian to understand. Pachnavi, this is in India. I can safely ignore that. I'm able to switch up my government, but I don't feel the need to switch up my government. Life seems very good. So what I think we'll do is we'll wait for all this to finish, and then we will build more armies. No. We'll build more power plants. Power stations. You know, some of these countries I would exempt from service, but honestly, it's very good to have a lot of small countries with a lot of fronts right around you. You sure you don't want to fight Britain? You sure you don't want me to frickin' break off more bits and pieces of your empire? I know you got a lot of tasty territory in Africa that I would love to steal. It's puppets, subjects, all that good stuff. How are things going, Dharampoor? You seem fine. Russia's improving relations. Their attitude is conciliatory. Well, you may feel free to do so. Let me see. Austria is trying to take over Mecklenburg. They're going for the North Sea. We're going to have an Austria from sea to shining sea. And a Bavarian nationalist revolt. Here's the war with Uruguay. Oh my goodness. They've broken off. And the nationalist revolt's winning because they're holding most of the country. This is extremely funny. So, Bavarian nationalist revolt is a council republic, but so is Bavaria. So it's just a changing of the guard. They're retaining communism. It's communism all the way down. All right. So except for Madeira, I feel like I can anticipate the amount of power we'll need in Madeira. That's the Azores. That's the Canaries. That's Capo Verde. Where's Madeira? Gosh, my oceanic geography is pretty weak. I thought Madeira was somewhere around here. Am I? I'm off base. Hold on. I'm gonna use the finder. Where's the finder? Here it is. Madeira. Hold on. Hold on. Am I pronouncing it wrong? M-A-D-E. Capital? Here we go. It's here. Okay, I knew it was somewhere in this area. I missed the islands under that construction hooty-majig. Alright. Let's just go with 2 extra levels of power stations there. And then when the others are finished being built and have been running for a couple of weeks, then we can figure out Amazonia withdraws from the Treaty of Almeria. Alright. Because of their communist movement, probably. Don't worry, Amazonia. We'll be better friends soon. Let's start improving relations with Uruguay. Mecklenburg backs down. Excellent. Now, relations with the Netherlands are pretty good, so I'm going to start damaging them. Our truce is going to last another 3 months. So, you know, we'll see how that goes. Britain's got an Ovambo uprising. We got a Melanesian nationalist movement popping off. And Halcyon talent. We see an opportunity to call in the obligation Anhalt owes us by requesting the service of their commanders, Bernhard Waldschmidt. He is an armed forces Republican with persistent traditionalist commander and explorer. Not everyone is afforded the opportunities they deserve in their home country. We are an ambitious nation, one that will make better use of his skills than they ever could. Just what our military needs, we'll send an offer to take him. If they say no, it deteriorates relations, or the obligation is more than the skills of one man. No message. I'm going to pick the second one. I always prefer to have an obligation to having a commander. Alright, once these get built, we'll take another look at the power situation. Our leader of our industrialists has retired. So let's see who's heading them up now. The armed forces are headed up by a liberal, so they're going to join the progressives next election. Interesting. And now we have a corporatist heading up the industrialists. Interesting. He's not going to help us do anything we haven't already done. He would love corporatized unions, but I don't need that. So now, let's take another quick look at power. Slide down to the bottom here. There are a lot of places where we're short. Castilla Vieja, Aragon, País Vasco, and Galicia. Looks like the issue is the most extreme in Galicia. Oh my goodness, we're going to need a ton more power. So we're going to need, I think, double and then, or we're going to need almost triple the amount of power. So, yeah, let's build 19 levels. That should be fine. And not quite as many as that because the private sector is building some. Castilla Vieja, we need a 50% increase. We'll just build 10 levels. And we'll build 11 levels. That should be fine. País Vasco, we need double. And let's go back to the market screen to make sure we're good. Looks like we are. Oh, Aragon. Aragon. Local prices are, we need about 75% increase. Let's go up to 30. We'll go up to 32. And then did I see some shortage of market access? I sure did. So let's put 3 more levels of railways in each of these areas. I'm doing these first. Is the shortage that extreme? No. Am I still doing it? Yes. Why is trade capacity here so bad? Oh, because of low market access. Well, that'll sort itself out in good time. Alright, and in a few more months, we'll go after the Dutch. Can increase the autonomy of Gaza and Occitania. Ooh. Low standard of living, 26. I don't give a flying one. So 2 Sicilies is really the primary target. But bringing Occitania down would be useful. So we'll do it. I know that's going to slow down 2 Sicilies, but that's okay. They're going down in Liberty Desire very fast, so that's just fine with me. Now, Iberian Abyssinia, can I take a state? Only Somaliland. Can I move your capital, or am I just gonna have to annex you? I think I might have to annex them, friends. That's gonna really upset my long-term goals with my colonial empire, but I'm gonna have to do it. There will be an Ethiopia. Gosh dang it. Proletarian revolt in Warsangali. I could step in just to steal stuff. But would Warsangali be my subject, making me the primary target? No, so I can't steal enough stuff for it to be worth it. Alright. What else does our market need? We're still quite short on telephones, still quite short on cars. Gosh dang. Is the automotive industry maximally productive? It seems like basically a yes. Except in Alentejo. Let's throw another 10... let's not. Let's not. They don't have any labor available. Although the labor will come if the industry is productive, which it definitely can be. Cars. What do I need for the better production method? Compression ignition, which I don't, which is in the list, but not very high up. All right, well we'll achieve that in the medium term. Is Egypt still a major? They are. I could force them to ban slavery. That would not allow me to take them as a puppet. What about the Greeks? If I made Greece a protectorate, would anyone be mad? The Russians, the Bulgarians, the Romanians. Nobody I'm really concerned about. On the other hand, it's about to be time to go after the Dutch. In fact, it's time to go after the Dutch. Okay, so I can regime change them or I can humiliate them. Interesting. What kind of a government have you got? You are a universal suffrage monarchy. I don't wish to regime change that. Now, if I do humiliation, they may accept, so I need to force a diplomatic play. I'll be fighting the Prussians and the French. I'm not at all concerned about them. I feel very solidly like I can take all of them in a fight. Maybe the Russians too. You know what? Before we do that, let's build ourselves a third Iberian army, shall we? Let's see. Ooh, we've got a trade unions guy. He's an ethno-nationalist. That's probably not going to be a problem later. Now he's a field marshal. Welcome to the family, son. Ooh, this guy's much better. He's an offensive planner and a moderate. Alright. So that should be fine. Our primary army pattern is 70, 50, and 10. Yep. So, let's get some units built. 15, 35, 45, 55, 60, 65, 70. 50 units of artillery. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50. And then 10 of Lancers, 5, 10. That should be fine. Those will get built really fast. Shouldn't take hardly any time at all. We're not building that many of them. Let's actually move the automotive industrial expansion below the barracks, just to make sure those get built at a reasonable rate. And then maybe we build a couple more global defense forces. First global defense force needs more fellas. This needs to be a 20 and 10 army. We'll throw those at the top of the queue as well. We've got another event. Legislation imposed on Mexico refused. They refused to enact universal suffrage. The ambassador returns, bearing the news of the rejection. They chose pride over progress, he reports. The silence that follows lies heavy in the council chamber. How ought we react to such insubordination? I guess we'll have to impose a different law. What if we were trying to make them do universal suffrage? Gosh. Not great. Not great. Let there be right to associate. I will mess up Mexico. There's plastics unlocked. Finally. Alright. So, we should be able to enable house for plastics right away. It's going to goof up our oil supply. They're enacting it. Alright. Beautiful. Legislation imposed on Honduras has been rejected for right of assembly. Okay. Stubborn fellas. Honduras. We have a communist movement popping off. You have right to associate. You have slavery banned. You're still doing censorship. You know what? Public schools. I'm going to cause a civil war in Honduras. That's for sure. Alright, this should... And they're enacting it. Beautiful. Coup in Santo Domingo? Santo Domingo. How could you? You become a census suffrage theocracy. Well, that's okay. They're doing anti-strike laws, though. Not ideal. Not ideal, but it could be worse. They got labor rights. Perhaps they should have rights of women. But they're well... Hold on. If I impose that, they'll have to stop doing... Oh, but they've got guild system. They need to get off anti-strike laws. That's for dang sure. So next, I think we want... Oh, we need to switch over some more of our government buildings to... Oh, you should be doing modern ports. They're just pretending not to be profitable. Ooh, we can do mass scale trading. Excellent, 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 excellent. Now, government admins. Let's get País Vasco and Aragon over to using telephone switchboards. I think that might be everywhere. Oh no, it's not everywhere in Iberia yet. We've still got plenty of infrastructure or bureaucratic capacity available. Let's grab our... this is going to be the third Iberian army. Confirm that, and we'll set their mobilization mirroring what everyone else has. And I've forgotten what everyone else has, so I'm going to need to go through and look. Yep. Da-da-da. Yep. Da-da-da-da. All right. Now next we're going to need... I think next we're going to need mechanized farming. That's very good. I need to update. Peru, Bolivia refused to do universal suffrage. It's not ideal. You're in the middle of a Quechua national movement. Well, them's the breaks. I'm in the middle of a Melanesian movement, but I'm not doing anything about it. Who are you going after? You're going after Madagascar to reduce their autonomy. Well, that's a shame. Can't get him as a subject. Alright. I was going to build a couple more global defense forces. Moderate for the woodland combat background. You seem perfect. Global defense forces are 20, 10, and 5. Yep. 20, 10, and 5. So, 5, 10, 15, 20. 10 and 5. And then we'll call you the 5th, the Iberian 5th GDF. And then we'll do another global defense force. Just make sure that hit. We'll do a trade unions fellow. Politicize the army? Me? What? Me? Worry about politicizing the army? 5, 10... 10, 15, 20, 5, 10, and 5. And then, do I need more X forces? I don't think so. We'll call you the Iberian 6th GDF. And I think we're going to do some more home guards as well. You know, these armies really should be that same pattern. There we go. And the other home guard need 1, 2, 3, and 4, 5, and 6. And that should put them where they need to be forces-wise. So we will go back to the military screen. Create a couple more new armies. Maybe we only need one more home guard. Yeah, I think we only need one more home guard. You seem good. Manuel Gomez da Costa, you're a jingoist. You're brave and an experienced defensive player. What could go wrong? We'll give you a promotion. So we need 5, 10... 15, 20. 5, 10. And 5. And we'll set all those mobilization methods. I see there's an event. I will handle it. But before I do that, I need to handle my market access shortage in Aragon. Needs to be rectified. Oh, the private sector is already doing it. Private sector is already doing it. You know what? I need to use electric trains. Was there an event? Yes. Legislation imposed on Canada refused. I say, having a global empire is complicated. So they wouldn't do right to associate. Pretty tough to get them to do proportional taxation. They got the intelligentsia in charge. Women's suffrage? There we go. The intelligentsia love that. Shouldn't be a problem. Plastic production. The switch to plastic in our glassworks is set to revolutionize the industry. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you a world's first. Behold this perfectly carved ivory chess piece. Beautiful, no? What if I were to tell you that it is not ivory at all, but a new material known as plastic? Plastic is the future, extra glassworks throughput. We should spread this knowledge to Occitania. We'll pick the first one. We're doing it. Alright, so what does that do for our glass supply? Glass supply is doing pretty good. Doing pretty well. Porcelain supply is still rock solid. And that's going to be good for our glass industries. So, let's see. All of these barracks are actually essentially finished. So I think that's a pretty significant military expansion. We are simply going to call these the Iberian 3rd Home Guard. Let me see. Anhaltian obligation is expiring. That's not a problem for me. You're a landowner's guy. I don't want to give you more power. Let's give this armed forces guy some power. Alright, so from here, I think I'm ready to do my oil and Cyrenaica. That's exciting. Give me every of oil. Before we do this, how much infrastructure they got? Not enough to handle all those oil wells, that's for dang sure. And then before no, I'm going to kick off the war now. So, I'm going to humiliate. I'm going to force a diplomatic play. Britain will not step in. We'll see the Russians, the Prussians, and the French involved, and that's all fine with me. So, what do I want? I want the transfer of Amazonia and Para. I should take the Dutch West Indies and Guyana while we're at it. And some territories in Africa. Nothing too extreme. Nothing one need worry about. So, add war goal, transfer subject. Okay, let's keep our eyes on the prize here. Amazonia, I want. Transfer Para. And you know what? I'll grab the Dutch East Indies. Who says you can't? This is going to cost me a few maneuvers to add these to primary. And you know what? I'll add the Dutch East Indies as well. Now, conquer state. We'll grab the Windward Coast. This is the Windward. So Ivory Coast, Windward Coast, and Mauritania. So we'll grab the Windward Coast, the Ivory Coast, I do so desire Guyana, Mauritania. Oh, they got some bits of New Guinea too that I desire. My goodness, where am I infamy-wise? 20? That's fine. It's so fine. It's so chill. I got 100 maneuvers left. I can steal as much as I wish. Eastern New Guinea. Western New Guinea. And West Indies. I'll take the lot. Let me see. I can make all these primary... Okay, hold on. If I make this primary, though, is that going to increase my infamy? 35.1. Okay, it did. All right. So I'm not gonna do any more of that. That needs to be... That's notated wrong. All right. I've added a lot of war goals. I've gained actually a significant amount of infamy. There are a lot of people who are going to be up for fighting me about this. But, you know, that's okay. We'll send the 4th Global Defense Force to the Mauritania front. The 1st Global Defense Force to the Windward and Ivory Coast front. The 5th Global Defense Force will hold onto for now. Same as the 6th. The 4th will send no other fronts in Africa. We'll send them to the East Indies. Now, our first X-Force we're sending to the Amazonia front, the 2nd to the other Amazonia front, and then the 3rd Global Defense Force we are sending to actually 2 fronts in New Guinea. So we will actually send one of them. We'll send the 5th Global Defense Force over there. And then the largest of our armies we'll save for a naval invasion. And that'll just be nice. That'll be just fine. Doing a really solid mobilization. Anhalt. Anhalt, where are you? You're somewhere, that's for dang sure. This diplomatic play is covering up everything. Alright. Let's get our, let's get this diplomatic play running. I do have a few countries I could bring in. I could bring in China, interestingly. I could bring in Bengal. I know what they want, though. Ooh, oil in Santa Fe. It doesn't affect me, but it would be cool if it did. So Bengal, you want transfer states or subjects. Oh, because I'm holding a tiny bit of frickin'... That's right. That's very funny. Maybe that's where my Gujarati movement is. Alright, I need more munitions. That was something I anticipated and then did not do anything about. Least ineffective European national armed forces planning process, TBH. Alright, let's throw 10 levels in Castilla Nueva, 10 in Alta Andalusia. Actually, no. Not 10 in Alta Andalusia, 10 in Murcia. Let me see, that's a 50% increase. Let's throw 10 in Extremadura. We will put all of these behind the oil rigs because we need them more urgently than the oil rigs. Like I built in 20 weeks, and that should be just fine. Alright, precious sides, not a problem. French Republic sides. Oh, yeah. Sides with the Netherlands. Well, that's interesting. Oh, yeah. What a curious... Oh, right, because you're with the French. Yes, you're with the French. Well, this does create an opportunity for me. We'll send the second Global Defense Force to square off against the French. So what can I steal from the French? I could steal... I could steal Oyo, that's for sure. That will be only one infamy. Let's do it. We'll put just so many armies at this here front. And do I have any more global defense forces? I should. The 6th, yes. We'll put that on the northern front. Oh, I would love to steal these states. Perhaps I could liberate from France an Algeria? Where would you be? Algeria, here we go. We'll liberate Algeria. That would probably be enough. Suppose I could steal some of this territory, but I don't want to make my infamy even higher, or much higher. Let's add a transfer on Congo as well. Where are we here? I can't transfer Congo. Well, that's a shame. But it is what it is. Russia sides with the Netherlands. Alright, that's fine. Have I bitten off more than I can chew? Maybe. Do I steal Madagascar and Oman is the real question now. My armies are quite all over the place at this stage. Perhaps... Oh, do I guard the Turkey front? I think I must. Which is going to make this front here in France a little bit tougher. But again, I think a lot of these areas are mostly going to be okay. Again, I think my ability to land invade France is going to be instrumental in making sure that this all goes down without a hitch. I am going to put my second home guard on the Oyo front, just to make sure that that doesn't get done too bad. Although, again, Bahia? What treaty was this? Well, it's fine. It's fine. I'm giving myself a little infamy. I'm treating myself today. Solomon Islands, Indian Ocean Territory. Solomon Islands, where are you? You're way over here. You know, can't be bothered, to be honest. Iberian 5th Global Defense Force suffering attrition. Why are you suffering attrition? You're not. Cool. Nailed it. Once this pops off, I'll find Anhalt, and I'll deal with that whole situation. A Mato Grosso uprising in Amazonia. That's a crying shame, because that territory should be part of Amazonia. Perhaps I will annex them and turn them into Amazonian territory. If you're in 4th Global Defense Force, you are just crossing some enemy territory. Nothing to worry about that. So we're doing a big old war. Let me see. So far, they're only asking for the return of Ivory Coast, which is interesting. They certainly seem unlikely to back down at this stage on account of they brought in just 1 million armies. The soldiers seize. After his return from duty, General Jose Augusto Alves Rosadas has not been the same. He avoids the barracks like the plague, refuses to use a weapon, and he stated damn clearly that he doesn't want to hear a damn word about war. He wakes up in the middle of the night, drenched in sweat, screaming. He looks at me and doesn't recognize me, just points and asks about his brother, his dear brother. Sometimes he even tries to get something to throw at me. Where am I? He yells, his eyes seeing past me. These memories would wreck any man. This needs to be treated. He loses shell shock, but loses some popularity. You should get appropriate treatment in an asylum, far from the public eye. Armed forces unhappy, but he ceases to be a general. Or this is just another instance of cowardice. Send him back to service. 50-50 chance he becomes an alcoholic. Armed forces unhappy. I'm going to do the first one. I don't wish him to have shell shock. Armed forces leaders having shell shock is not great. What are you guys doing over here? You should be up here. Actually, no. Well, you're fine there for now. Actually, why don't you just handle this situation for now? And then we'll worry about other stuff later. East Africa's got a tough front. I'll need to handle that. Lots of small fronts with issues, but nothing too extreme. So I should be able to handle it. And if they back down, they'll back down. How are they feeling? Worried. You should be. I'm stronger than all your allies. Let's go Navy. Venezuela refused to enact slavery ban. Venezuela, you really, really need to just stop slavery. But I'll leave it for the time being. When this war is over, coming after you, Venezuela. There's the war with the Dutch. And the Prussians, the French, and the Russians. I know that sounds like a lot of people. I'm sure it will be fine. I have great confidence in our armed forces' ability to solve all of the problems which I have caused in our situation. I'm building more munitions plants. We're doing whatever we gotta do. It's gonna be fine. Oh, because this front broke up on account of the Mato Grosso uprising. Well, I sure hope Amazonia fixes their Mato Grosso uprising within a reasonable time frame so that I can have that territory, and if not, then things will be what they are. How are things going on the main front? We are winning. We are winning. Lovely. Someone is naval invading the Netherlands. That's just fine with me. Alright. This front has been handled, it seems. So we're going to send these fellas to the East African front. It's going to take them a while to get there, but that shouldn't be a problem. Bantu National Awakening. Okay. We are progressing forward here in the French Republic. In French Republican territory in Africa. Fronts in Southeast Asia, or Oceania are going just fine. Let's see. And we are winning in the Caucasus front. I bet you that's something you haven't heard a country doing in a while. Iberian Solomon Islands are isolated. You need a port. You have a port. It's probably they're blockaded or something. I'm not going to worry about that too much. That should be fine. Okay. I think these are all the agreements to stop doing a slavery that I imposed on these countries. Alright. Second Global Defense Force is finished where they are. Let's send them to the Northern African front. Actually, no. Let's send them to Southeast Asia. And what else? Alright, so... It looks like they are taking over the Mato Grosso uprising, so how is this going? That's really interesting. To be honest, I wish I could kind of slow this down, because I don't want to take all this over. Well, this is gonna... Someone else is working on this, so... It is what it is. So I think from here... I got the X-Force working in Eastern Africa. They're actually almost done with what they're doing, which is good, because what we're going to do is we're going to send this army to the Caucasus front, and then we'll grab the army that's on the Caucasus front and we'll invade the Netherlands. And that'll be just fine. You gotta keep the enemy on their toes. We've got a very high offense. We've got a very high baseline strength ratio in this war. So I'm extremely confident in our ability to win it long term. Let's actually move one of these, the first Global Defense Force, to North Africa. Because ultimately this is a home guard. Or no, that's not a home guard. Where is... I got one of my home guards away from Iberia. The second home guard. Where are you at, second home guard? You're in Central Africa. Oh, you are the ones that I... Ah, you're the other ones that were there. Alright, so you're actually going to go back to Iberia to defend that territory there. And this X-Force is done, which means you're headed to the Caucasus front. TD is in default, which is not that big of a deal. Ah, I should have grabbed French Guyana. Well, them's the breaks. I didn't. That's because in default, that is very cool. Iberian First Global Defense Force. You can go to another one of the fronts in Southeast Asia. Yeah, Tahiti's having a real tax problem, I will say. Mistec National Awakening in Mexico. Okay, that's not my problem for the moment. It may soon be, but for the moment, it is not. Alright, we're nearly there, so let's pull the Second Iberian Army back as soon as they're done with the battle they're in, which shouldn't be long now, because none of these battles are taking too long, because I've got an excellent force comparison. Come on, come on, you can do it, you can do it, I believe in you, I believe in you. Finish out, pursue them, win, defeat them. There we go. Alright, we're moving you to Occitania. 22 days. Unfortunately, someone else seems to be invading all of the locations where it would be convenient to invade, so we'll actually invade Prussia. Which army was this? This is the Second Iberian Army. We will invade Prussia as soon as this naval battle is finished. We'll actually invade Hanover, but you know what I mean. That will be very, very quick. Those troops are already in Occitania. And hopefully between those two, we'll send the second home guard. No, actually we won't. We'll send the 6th Global Defense Force there for good measure. And once there's a front developed here, can't deploy... Naval Munition Front is not prepared yet. Alright, that's okay. They'll sort themselves out in good time. And then we'll arrive. So the Prussia front should be its... No, it's not its own front, and that's okay. I should have transferred Baden. That was silly of me. But, you know, I got infamy. I still got a lot of infamy. I should be doing well on munitions at this point. I'm still exporting munitions. That's pretty funny. That is pretty funny overall. All right. Well, there's certainly a front prepared. So why don't you get yourselves onto that front? And basically, the point is, if we have some weird front chicanery, we'll have 2 armies there, and it'll be fine. All right. French Republic has accepted the liberation of Iberia. And these armies are on the Baden front now. This one, we might need to move around. Yes, we'll move them to this front. Because this front is now a front. We'll be pushing effectively in all directions. Corporate governance. Delightful. That increases my maximum number of companies. Prussia bailed out. Gosh dang it, are you jorking my peanuts right now? See, this is frustrating because there are failed naval invasions in these areas. I can't send my own forces to support them. Well, I think first things first, let's grab the first Iberian army and invade whatever the capital of the Dutch East Indies is, which I believe is West Java. Yes, sure is. That really puts a damper on my plans. Second Iberian army, I guess you'll go to the Caucasus front. And 6th Global Defense Force. Do I have any fronts to send you to? Only this one. And that one's almost finished, genuinely. Exciting. Alright. Russia has bailed out of the war. I don't know why this army is going to Austria. Oh, because they got access through there. Well, that's fine then. Again, this is just really, really bad. I've got a bunch of miners doing naval invasions in these areas, stopping me from naval invading, and that's not good. That's not the way the game should... That's not the way it should be working. I have the ability to naval invade these areas. I should naval invade them. So yeah, okay, here we go. Alright, so one of them just finished, so now I can do it. So this naval invasion will be cancelled. And we'll grab the first army. And we will naval invade in Holland, the Armada, and that will sort out that issue. Now, the enemy does have war support protection. I do as well because they're not holding the Ivory Coast, which they foolishly tried to hold. Like fools. Like foolish fools. I should have... Oh, maybe I did take Guyana. I didn't take French Guyana. Let me see. Mato Grosso uprising... You're losing versus Amazonia. So I actually need to keep this X-Force in this area because I think that war is going to transfer to me as soon as this is done. Yeah, you better run. Scandinavia, you goobers. Sicily is... Two Sicilies is becoming less... desirous of liberty, but not at a rate I would love on account of it could be better because I'm infamous. Mission to Africa. A group of Christian missionaries want to bring the salvation of the Gospels to our colony in Iberia, Namakland. I do not believe that everyone is entitled to salvation because we must be free to reject it, but I do believe everyone is entitled to the choice. We must not, cannot sit idle in the Iberian Federation, while there are yet unenlightened heathens in the world. If the colonial project is to truly be a moral one, as you claim, then surely all moral instruction must begin with this choice. Spreading the true faith is a vital part of the colonial project. Extra conversion to migration attraction in unincorporated states. Catholic Church stronger and happier, or we're there for the glory of the Iberian Federation, not the glory of God. Catholic Church unhappy. Slightly stronger than 2.7. I'm okay with that. I'm actually going to go with the first one. Is extra conversion good? I don't think we have conversion right now because we have separation of church and state. Yeah, this one allows conversion. Well, it didn't actually affect things, and that's okay. All right, this is a pretty good force comparison. Shouldn't be a problem. Second Iberian Army, where are you? All right, so yeah, we'll kind of see how that goes. I think that might change. I need to flip over another one of my government sectors to telephone switchboards on account of I'm short of... You know what? No, I'm not going to do all of them. I'm not going to be stupid. I'm not going to apply a one-size-fits-all policy. And we'll do Extremadura. And the rest are away in other places. But that's okay. That's okay. Next round, we'll switch all of them, including the ones in Africa and other unincorporated areas. Alright, so this is the only front that really matters at this stage. It does seem as though I am pushing forward. That's delightful. Oh, I'm finally going to clean up all these tiny confusions in Africa. Ooh. It would be extremely funny if we should have a truce with Algeria, right? Yeah, 4 years more truce with Algeria. Well, that's okay. Soon. Indonesian National Movement. They're still popping off. Realistically, how difficult would it be for me to make multiculturalism happen at this stage? It wouldn't be too hard. A lot of my movements would be happy about it, but some of my movements would be extremely unhappy about it. Then again, I'm not necessarily going for that, although I could go for cultural exclusion. That would be a slightly more liberal policy. But I don't think that's necessarily my goal at this stage of the run. Delicious water. Anyway, we're just waiting on this naval invasion to finish. Yeah, powers in default. That's a big shocker. This should get us the rest of the way. After that, it's all just peaches and gravy. In the words of a certain Mr. Pilgrim. Why am I sending another army to the Netherlands? Because I have another army to send. And now they're partially occupied. So this shouldn't be... I think they're not going to accept everything until they're completely occupied. But that's okay. I can completely occupy them. I am not at all worried about that. You know? It's... The Prussians and the Russians and the French really bailed out pretty fast, in my humble opinion. I didn't even really do that much devastation to their home areas, which isn't bad, but it's just like it's not the national willpower you might expect. But then again, like they weren't losing anything from abandoning their friends, the Dutch, so. That's what happens in modern war. When you don't actually care about your allies, you just bail out of the war so that things don't go bad for you, and then that's how the war goes. And obviously, it was unrealistic for them to think that they could fight me, but you know, they had to put in a good showing. And now all of the Dutch stuff will be mine. Well, not everything, but there are many things which will be mine. And theoretically, they might fall to being a minor power, and if that happens, then I can take them as a protectorate, and that will be fun. So, Peru, Bolivia. Or no, Venezuela. Venezuela. You are the ones who are still doing slave trade. 5 months more. Beautiful. So now... And now, Mato Grosso, you're... just a country. That's fine. Oh, you know what? I should have annexed them. Well, that's okay. How does it look here? Actually, mostly fluvial Bantu, but the next... What's Mato Grosso? Mato Grosso is an Amazonian country. Oh, okay. All right. So they're both Amazonian, so it's all right. And I will improve relations with Amazonia. I will improve relations with Para. And all will be well. Things are going just fine. All right, 2 Sicilies. How are you doing? You're still... They had an angry Kirby status for a little bit. That's very funny. My Melanesian national movement is still popping off. And I can't really do anything about that without establishing a thing. So now the question is, how do I handle this territory? I think I'm going to give all of these areas to Australia. Wait, Australia is Australian, British and Anglophone. Am I able to change language of administration? No, because they're not a colonial administration. What are they? They're a republic. Yeah, they're a theocracy. Interesting. But they're a dominion. And I'm going to change language of administration to make them Dutch, or to make them Iberian, rather. In fact, if not in name. And yeah, I think I'm going to hand this territory off to the Australians. Because they're already holding some different bits of... Oh, I can't grant them the states right now because I'm in the middle of a diplomatic play, because I just can't stop taking over countries. It's okay. This situation, really, really good overall. Oh, I didn't get Guyana. Well, that's okay. Them's the breaks. Is this British Tibet? Yep, they sure are. Yeah, that's fine. Damn, that's crazy. And they backed out. Beautiful. Alright. Now I'm not in a diplomatic play. Amazonia. Yeah, old so-and-so. Take Guaviare. I'm not going to reduce them in autonomy right now because I really need... Oh. An election once again. Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy. Settle down. Settle down. Settle down. Alright. Looks is actually looking very well for the communists. The conservatives have fallen back on account of losing the armed forces to the progressives. The best defense, our neighbors in Great Britain have become known for their ruthless foreign policy, concern that the Conservative Party have raised in their election campaign. It's because Britain's got infamy. Promising to be harsher in turn to deter aggression. The suggestion has been brought to me that our diplomats study more languages to facilitate connections around the world. That is all well and good, but we all know there's only one language a British brute understands. They don't teach it in universities, but we better be ready to speak it if we want the border to stay where it is. The British menace must be deterred. Extra momentum for the Conservatives deteriorates relations with Great Britain, or they're just looking for targets for their posturing, salting armed forces. I'm going to do the second one. I don't want to give them more momentum. That is simply what I do not wish to do. Alright, Australia, Grant State, Eastern New Guinea, Australia, Grant State, Western New Guinea. Now, Iberian East Indies, Grant State. I cannot, because we're in a diplomatic play? Because they're in a diplomatic play. Are they in a war or something? They're in a war. Alright. That's okay. We'll do more consolidations later. So, from here, let's take another quick look at our market and see what we need to do. As always, we're in need of more telephones and radios. So an expansion of the electrics industry couldn't hurt. So we'll do that quickly while we're thinking about it. And by we, I mean me. I mean, you're thinking about it too, but you don't have the ability to influence this whole thing. Only I can... Something forest fires. Where's my electrics industry? Here they are. Yeah, let's build up a few in Madeira. They're profitable basically everywhere. Let's do some more in Baja Andalusia. Some more in Castilla Vieja. Some more in País Vasco. Let me also, before I forget, I got new farming methods. Let's actually go to mechanized slaughterhouses. We'll go to intensive wool gathering. We'll go to... We're still mostly in barbed wire fences. And we'll go to refrigerated rail cars. For these farms, we'll go to tractors. We can for the wheat farms as well, I believe. Yes, we can. That's made them more profitable. Rice farms, we cannot. And then rye farms, we don't have any of those in the country. Millet farms, we can go to tractors. They seem a little better. Let's do Steam Donkey for the mines. I think that's going to make them more productive, even if they say it's not. But in any case, I need the labor available, because we don't have that much labor available. Let's go to rail transit for our plantations. This is going to require us to build a lot of railways, but we have the capacity to build a ton of railways. That's no problem whatsoever. Factory radios. Interesting. Standard labor lectors, extra tobacco, extra conversion, extra radicals from and loyalists from movements, and then double that. Interesting. Let's do the second one, at least. Then we'll do rail transport, rail transport, rail transport. We'll go to... No. Actually, you're mostly on electric sawmills, and that's where I want you to stay. Let's go to Steam Donkey and rail transport. We'll do rail log carts. Rubber plantations, rail transport. Fishing wharves, steam trawlers should all be on. And you know what? Heck it, we'll do refrigerated rail cars. Maybe not. Maybe just refrigerated storage? Nope, that's even worse. Full refrigeration. Refrigeration maxing. Refrigerated rail cars to the railway stations and tanker cars to the oil rigs. Alright, that's some mechanization complete. Let's see where we need transport. Just to confirm, my urban centers are producing... I forget if they're an urban or development building, but I think I'll save time just going there like this. Urban centers are on... Yes, public railway cars. Alright, that's fine. The good old days. When invited to give a speech on behalf of the Conservative Party, Pascual Nogueira began extolling the virtues of strong homes, strong borders, and strong men. The public reception was mixed. Truly, I dare say the men are no longer men. They're coddled with books as if they're a substitute for real adventure. Their mothers swaddled them in cotton and silk only for them to be henpecked by their wives. And heaven forbid they take a pint of beer, one sip and they need their fathers to carry them home. Won't someone think of the children, extra momentum for the Conservatives, or rhetoric cannot disguise what Nogueira wants. Reduce momentum for the Conservatives and he loses popularity. I'm doing the second one. Get out of here with that. Railroad boom. The growth of branch lines along the main rail routes has been immensely valuable to the growth of our burgeoning rail industry. A child has been arrested for picking up coal alongside newly laid tracks. If the youth had been smart enough to steal the whole railroad, he would have been hailed as the Napoleon of industry. The railroads in Madeira shall prosper, extra railway building throughput, or locomotive builders of Alta Andalusia should benefit from this boom. Motor industries throughput in Alta Andalusia. I'm going with the motor industries throughput. I feel like that's not hard to understand why I would choose that. So, now we're going to need some more railways in a lot of places. I'm just going to sort by local price and build a railway anywhere there's not a railway. And that's going to be most places in my global empire, and that is chill. Some of these places are really experiencing significant shortages, though. So, let me see. How much transport am I going to get per level? About 30. More if I use electrics. For now, we'll double these areas. Oh, hold on. Some of these are not in... Can I... Hold on. Well, these are all the places that are in a hard shortage right now. Let me see. I guess I'll build at least one level. And anywhere that doesn't have at least one level, where demand is high. That's actually not most areas. Alright, now we're getting into places where demand is midland. Alright, so from here, we'll do the same for electricity. And I'm just going to electrify pretty much the entire empire. At least a little bit. And then from there, we'll figure out exactly how to balance railways. I think I do actually want to go to full electrical railway, full use of electric railways wherever I can. Because full use of electric railways will be very good for the country after all. Oh, I see. It's a different icon in places where there's a subject state versus places within my own borders. That's cool. I am going to check out those events in a second. I just want to do this because this is kind of long and boring, and I don't want to simply ignore it. Nope, they're not producing enough because they're not profitable. Oh, maybe they're using a bad production method. That's okay. That's fine. Golly, there are so many of these. My empire's too big. Said no imperialist ever, truthfully. In fact, quite the opposite. South African communist revolt. I need to pause, because these events are going buck wild, and I just need to electrify the whole world. I don't want to set the world on fire, I just want to run some wires. I just want to lay some wire in the world. Wow, electricity prices sure are high in a lot of areas. Alright, now we're getting to the end of this silly little exercise of mine. Alright, and everywhere else has at least one, so that's fine. Infertile grounds. Finding both the Iberian public and supposed political allies unreceptive to his ideas, frustrated, Pascual Nogueira has decided to retire from the realm of politics, after being said to spend the rest of his days penning embittered reflections on what could have been. I give these bumpkins the truth, and how am I rewarded? With deafening silence. They call Madrid a city of ideas, of culture. The only evidence of cultivation I found in that cesspool of a city came from the fields outside of it, and even they were cared for poorly. Good riddance to you all, I say, sirs. Good riddance to you all. Let him peddle his ideas in peace, far from Madrid, petite bourgeoisie slightly stronger, or politely inform him his presence is unwanted in the Iberian Federation. He's exiled, petite bourgeoisie unhappy. Better do that second one. The play for power. Antonio Maura, leader of the petite bourgeoisie, has made a remarkable play for power in the capital in order to secure a spot for the petite bourgeoisie within the government. However, it's not entirely clear if they should be rewarded for their novel tactics. There's only one light on in the street that leads to the petite bourgeoisie headquarters. There's also only one light on inside. There, Antonio Maura relaxes among the sumptuous mahogany furniture and velvet cushions. The lamp is identical to those that have been sent from the east. The ends justify the means, and our means are very, very justified. It's difficult not to believe him when he offers an inviting seat by his side. Maura shall be recognized for this, stronger in petite bourgeoisie by a lot, or not all is fair in love and war. They get saltier and much weaker. I'm going to do that second one. They're the cornerstones of the Conservative Party. Them being weaker is good for me. Do a promotion. The armed forces demand the promotion of Lieutenant General Anthony Junient, touting his history of loyal and effective service. He is an ethno-nationalist aligned with the armed forces, but he's 68. Yeah, I'm not too worried about that. So many medals adorned his jacket that one could scarcely see the fabric beneath, but it was not yet enough. Chest puffed out with pride, the general smiled as he imagined the look on Aznar's face when the field marshal learned of his intercession. The rivalry was legendary among the officers. At last, he would have his due. Anthony Junient has earned it. He gets promoted to general, armed forces become happier. Or the armed forces will not force our hand. Salty armed forces happier trade unions. He loses popularity. I'm going to do the first one. Keeping the armed forces happy is critical for all this good stuff. Maintaining balance in the country. The ongoing election has drawn attention to the platforms of the various contending parties. Across the Iberian Federation, the electorate debates which party is worth trusting with the next term in government. The first thing I would take into account is the safety of my investments. If a party would represent chaos, I may safely discount it. The stockbroker tapped his cigar on the rim of the ashtray and continued. The journalist took notes as he spoke. How will the incoming government's tariff policy affect my needed imports? Do they wish to impose taxes, which may spur uncertainty? Do they wish to embark upon military adventures? Would these adventures be profitable or would they be ruinous? There is much to consider. The Conservative Party makes decisive. I've gone through all these before. You get to pick which party. I'm going to go with the Communists, because they're the ones currently leading the country. Now, the Japanese flu. A massive outbreak of an especially deadly strain of flu has broken out in Tohoku. It threatens to spread rapidly, potentially escalating into a global pandemic. The epidemic of influenza, like a specter of death, was upon us almost overnight, and 3 days after the disease was made reportable by the Board of Health, our hospital was full to overflowing with victims of the pestilence. I hope it doesn't reach the Iberian Federation. It's probably going to reach the Iberian Federation. Alright, so let's give that a week to turn over and see how that's going to affect the election results. Alright. Election is very well in the hands of the Communists now. Fruitful endorsements. In a gesture of solidarity with the Conservative Party, Rafael Serrano has encouraged his supporters to vote for it in the ongoing election. For the interest of all principled people, the Conservative Party has a consistent record of excellence. I cannot speak higher of those brave men and women moving the Iberian Federation forwards under their name. Yes, our thanks, certainly, 30% momentum for them. Or the endorsement would best be more specific, 20% momentum and stronger petite bourgeoisie. I'm actually going to go with 30% momentum. I don't want to strengthen the petite bourgeoisie this time, and because they're already powerful, Could be a significant modification, whereas this is not that much. Communists are still projected to take 55% of the vote, but the Conservatives only 35%, the Progressives 6%, and the Catholics 2%. And I'm not at all concerned about that. 100% electoral confidence. What does that actually do for us? No effects. Come on now. It should have effects. Standard of living is very high. And we've got a lot of construction to do. A lot of these railways are going to get built really, really slowly, and that's okay. I think anything that's going to take a really unreasonable amount of time, I may throw at the bottom of the queue. Like this one. And this one here in North Borneo. Oop. Hold on. This one in the West Indies. It's going to take too long. I said move down in the construction queue. That's weird. Alright. This one in Inner Mauritania. North Borneo is okay. There's the election popping off. We should still be pretty high legitimacy. Oh boy, these ones in Central Java. What is happening over there? Okay, so things are extremely down bad in Central Java. That's okay. I will do those eventually, but for now we got more pressing matters to deal with. Alright, so I believe, yep, we still have a righteous government. And everything else is still looking really, really good. I'm feeling rock solid overall. I can establish a new company, so let's do that. Can I get anything really good? Extra formation speed would be nice. I'm not really seeing anything that really, really speaks to me. Extra birth rate would be nice, but my population is very, very high, actually. Navy offense. That's an idea. Infrastructure. That's an idea. Prestige. Ooh, not good businesses for that. Yeah, I think we might go for the Navy offense one. Yep, I think that's what we're going to do. And, let's see. The Iberian Shipyard Combine. And we have 4 out of 5 free company charters. We'll give them investment rights. The investment pool is extremely stuffed full of cash. I really should increase the size of the investment pool, huh? Or of the construction sector, huh? Do I just go buck wild and build all of them? Then you have a hammer, the Herero National Movement. General Pascual Sergio, noting severe unrest in Iberian Bougainville, has proposed using the army to suppress the agitation in the area. While his political allies support him, there's heavy risk to following his plan. It is simple. We have an army, there is the enemy. Let me deploy my men and do it as needed, and the enemy shall be vanquished. That is all there is to it. Reprimand him and reject the plan. Industrialists unhappy, and he's demoted to Brigadier General. That's interesting. They're not as happy as I would like them. Or we must use the tools we have to solve the problems we have. 33% chance he succeeds, and the secession goes down by 5%. 66% chance he doesn't, and it goes up by 5%. I'm going to do the second one. It is what it is. Well, we sure do have a lot of national movements popping off, but we will simply have to crush them. Now, is Two Sicilies at the point? Not yet. But they'll be getting moving pretty fast once our infamy finally fully decays. I think the Melanesian national movement's going to actually pop off. Yeah, Bougainville, Connacht, and the Solomon Islands. That's fine. That's fine. I can shoot at them, no problem. Now, how are these power plants doing? They're going mostly well. Okay, everything's looking good so far. In terms of the construction of those railways and all that good stuff. Alright, Javanese Uprising. Achievement unlocks Standard Oil. I'm going to need to look up what that one does. So that's a Javanese Uprising. I'm going to send the 3rd Global Defense Force to deal with it. That's Central Java, so I think that's actually... Or no. Technically, I still have these in the queue. That's interesting. I think they'll disappear, though, when the time comes. Kanak Uprising. Alright, very good. Secessionist Manifesto. A manifesto laying out the arguments for Herero independence has started to spread in the Iberian Federation. Should this sort of thing be illegal? It's not arguing for an armed revolution. Herero independence could easily be an entirely peaceful process. However, I will say this. If such a revolution comes, this is what they'll be shouting from the barricades. Start a propaganda campaign to counter these arguments. Reduced movement pop attraction and activism. Reduce succession progress by 10%. Reduce authority. Or pay it no mind. It gets more pop attraction. I'm going to do the first one. I hope it doesn't pop off. Now, the other one we've got is over here in Kanak. I think I'm just going to fire up the 2nd Global Defense Force. And... Oh, do I have a front? I don't. I do. We'll move them to the area. I think I'm going to need the fleet. You know what? Actually, I think it's time we had a 2nd fleet. I know you all have probably been screaming about this for a couple of episodes. Ooh, we got some trade unionist dorks. Easy way to make the trade unionists stronger. Alright, so we'll do 5, 10, 15, 20. And then for dreadnoughts, we'll do 5, 10, and 15. And that'll be fine. I'll quickly throw these at the top of the queue. They'll get done really fast. Even constructing, I am gaining cash flow. All right, so I think the answer to that is excuse me? Britain aligned with me for a second and then stopped. Secessionist protests. Proponents of the Equatorial Bantu secession movement have gathered for a public protest. As the crowd began to gather, attention seemed apparent among onlookers and passers-by, more than that which would usually be expected at the sight of a political rally. Perhaps the agenda of national independence stirred up thoughts about civil war, or perhaps, more likely, it was simply the unfamiliar feeling of finding themselves outnumbered, even momentarily, by Equatorial Bantu people. Break it up, reduce authority, curtail free speech, which pisses off my armed forces, trade unions, rural folk, and intelligentsia. Reduce progress of the Equatorial Bantu national movement, or let it be heard. They become much stronger. I'm going to do the second one. I don't want to piss off all my interest groups. Just going to reduce the game speed here as I transfer more water into my into the bottle of water that I am currently drinking from. Water is very important. Pour it in your mouth to stay hydrated. Follow me for more loading screen tips. Alright, so the Equatorial Bantu national movement is almost assuredly also going to pop off, but I've got a lot of global defense forces to deal with this kind of thing, so I'm not too worried. Looks like there's independence movements in Great Britain, and Great Britain's losing on account of I've got them surrounded on all sides. They're just pretending they have attrition. They don't actually. Get out of here, notifications. Regime change in North Angola. Interesting. But I can't get... Are you just a country? That's curious. And they're going to turn them into a protectorate. Well... Be pretty funny if I shot at the Germans over North Angola, but I'm not going to. Not at the moment. I think now is the time to expand my construction sector. I've got a lot of places I can increase the size of the construction sector. I'm going to go up to a nice even 300. I'm going to put these at the front of the queue. That's not the button to put them at the front of the queue. That's the button to put them at the front of the queue. Let me see. Baja Andalusia, 10. Antidoro y Minho, 10. How many more of these I got? 4 more. Galicia, 10. Iberian Bombay is not fully employing, so I can get rid of those. We'll put 2 more in Alentejo. Valencia up to 10. Murcia up to, or Leon up to 10. Hang on, that's not Leon. And that's 52. Yep, that's as many as we desire. And then I opened the queue to throw them at the top of the queue, even though I was already in the queue. All of these at the top of the construction queue. And they're getting built really fast. Alright, beautiful. So, still got stuff popping off. A Kanak uprising. Interesting. Oh. Well, hold on. Oh, this is curious. Okay, so this was British territory, but they abandoned it, and now I'm going to get a hold of it. That's exciting. That's fun. 2 harms. Well, this front is actually much less important than... Well, that front's undefended, so... I guess I don't need... I guess I don't need anything. Alright. We're doing stuff all over the Empire. We're doing stuff all over the Empire. We got an empire, and where the empire is located, we are doing a task. Follow me for more hit singles. Right, and there's the Kanak uprising. Alright. Have I got myself a new navy yet? Yeah, kind of. North Angola backs down against Prussia. Okay. That's fine. Alright, so the Kanak uprising should be sorted pretty soon. Equatorial Bantu National Movement is going to pop off, so I need to fight that. The Sacred Union. With the war consuming the nation, we can and must try to bury our differences. A call to defend our nation may do much to calm down our mess at home, although we will have to offer something to our opponents to get them to fully buy in. In our great struggle, the nation calls upon her sons to step forth and defend their families, and calls for all party leaders to come forward and pledge that we shall strive to get on together until the day of victory. The Sacred Union will not falter, will not break in the face of hardship and hostility. In war we shall find peace, all the opposition interest groups stronger, but also happier for 2 years, or there's no reason to embolden our opponents with empty promises. Her national movement succession increases by 10. All opposition interest groups lose political strength. I'm going to do that second one. Bananas. That's great. That's great. Alright, Kanak is still losing war support pretty fast. I don't feel a need for any additional involvement. This force is going to deal with the thing in Java. They're still happening. That's fine. We'll probably send them to Herero next, which is in southern Africa here. Actually, what if... Iberian South Africa, what if I just handed... Oh, gosh, all these are funny. These are all goofy. Alright, hold on, I can do this. So I'm going to need to piss off Iberian East Africa. But they're pretty happy. So, I can't grant them a state because we're in a diplomatic play. I forgot all about that. I keep forgetting about that. Why can't I just shuffle states between my subjects? They're my subjects. Why can't I just shuffle the states between them? Alright. Interestingly, I think I still have... Nah, I don't have the Central Java construction queue because we're at war with them. Can't build them. Costa Rican Reactionary Revolt. Well, we'll go ahead and send the another one of our global defense forces, the 4th, to deal with that. Now, Venezuela. This whole slavery business. Wealth voting is not going to help. Well, wealth voting might help you, actually. We'll let them finish wealth voting. I am going to come back to them about the slavery thing, though. That's not over. We haven't sorted these. Modernist revolt in Assam. I don't need to deal with this. A communist revolt in the Confederacy. That's extremely funny. Just in Kentucky here. Okay, hear me out. They wouldn't become a subject. That's a shame. That's a shame, because it would have been extremely funny if they'd been willing to become a subject. I actually think I'm going to put the Inter-Mauritanian one and the West Indies ones at the top of the queue. Because I think these are going to take a long time, but it's actually worth it to get them done. Oh man, West Indies is down extremely bad. Austria sides with San Marco. Austria sides with San Marco. What is this? San Marco, where are you? Oh, you're... Ah, the Prussians went after San Marco, and Austria sided with them in exchange for doing more stuff with them. And that makes Austria the primary? No, San Marco is still the primary. Alright. Javanese secession, crushed. Let's grab the 3rd Global Defense Force and move them to Iberian South Africa to handle the Herero Uprising. Socialist demagogue Teresa Claremont of the trade unions is rapidly gaining popularity among the people. The radical socialist message of equality she espouses is proving especially appealing to the lower classes. Comrades, the time for action is now. Why should we toil in squalor while the boss goes rich and fat off our labor? Why should the meager pennies we earn go to greedy landlord who tells us we should be grateful for our miserable shacks? I saw that army mobilizing while the games paused. Inspirational. She becomes much more popular. Interesting. So I got a bunch of movements popping off in Africa. Oop, but before that, a famous cafe. After a chance meeting in a cafe and a thoughtful conversation, Alberto Izaguirre has recommended that Charles Hick, currently residing in the Iberian Federation, be granted permanent residency. So Charles Hick is a trade unionist radical. He's English. If you're in need of a place to stay, I could hardly neglect to offer you an invitation. It would be shameful for me, following such a magnificent correspondence, to fail to pursue your talents further. You could hardly ask for more esteemed endorsements, stronger trade unions, and he becomes employed in the Federation, or Alberto Izaguirre's decision-making is clearly questionable, he loses some popularity, and the trade unions become unhappy. I'm going to do the first one. This will strengthen my trade unions, and that's good. They're at 45%. I got a lot of trade unionists around. Let me see. I don't think I need to... Oh. Both sides are still confident. I don't want the Prussians getting stronger. On the other hand, what would happen? Before that, ever-increasing influence. Members of the Anti-British Association have discreetly dispatched one among their number to amplify their message in Iberia's most widely read newspaper. The Anti-British Association has calculated with utmost mastery the dissemination of materials to secure a foothold in both the political world and the public's imagination. With great satisfaction, the lobbyist comments, There is no denying that the number and reach of newspapers is ever expanding. This approach is sure to reach influential lawmakers to favor our scheme. This sets a bad precedent, salty petite bourgeoisie. Or, this is ingenious. Their appeasement increases by 1 and we lose 5 legitimacy. I'm always going to want to keep legitimacy high. I think we've got a modifier from our photos event still. But maybe not. Maybe not. Well, look at that. Duala. Now that's interesting. Alright, so we will grab the 3rd Global Defense Force and we'll put them into the Duala Uprising, because I thought it was going to be the Herero first, and apparently I'm not. Apparently I'm wrong about that. Arming the natives. We've discovered that our rivals in the United States of America have begun arming the Mendican natives in Guinea. This is likely to impede our efforts to conquer the region. The Mendican natives have never welcomed our presence, but without the means to mount a truly effective resistance, we've paid little heed to their objections. The addition of American munitions into the equation comes with the frightening possibility that we must face them on equal terms. We should de-escalate the situation, reduce colony growth speed, tensions decreased by 50, or if they want to fight, they'll get one, deteriorate relations with the USA, and increase tensions by 25. I'm going to do the first one. We're not actually colonizing this area, so it's a moot point. Or any other area at present, I dare say. I dare say, Mr. Dare say. Right. I'm looking into this whole situation here. Do I think the Austrians can take the Prussians and the Russians? Probably. I would like to shoot at the Russians and the Prussians, though. Maybe I'll do, like, an extremely rude, like, don't mobilize the entire... Maybe I will. Maybe I will. What if you give me war goals? If you give me a transfer subject war goal? What if you give me a transfer subject war goal? Okay, hold on. On Swiss... Baden, Switzerland. What if we did that? I think that would be delightful. Alright. Well, good thing I stepped in, because the Austrians seemed like they might have lost. Alright, so... we'll get all the lads together. I don't think this is going to be a problem. I can afford it. I can afford it big time. Alright, 1st Iberian Army to the main front. 2nd Iberian Army to the main front. 3rd Iberian Army to the secondary front, to the bottom. And then we'll just let all the other folks do as they like. Oh, actually, this creates fronts for us in Africa. Does it create fronts for us anywhere else? I'm not sure. We'll send the 1st Global Defense Force there. Oh, we need to put an army in Turkey, eh? Let's send the 1st X-Force there. There's the reactionary revolt in Costa Rica popping off. That's fine. Man, I really have a comically large army. This Sintong situation I don't think needs to be... Oh, no, I do need to hold on to this, because the... Oh, no, that's the Netherlands. Alright, I don't need to worry about that. Are the Netherlands a minor at this stage? They are. Excellent. That means I'll be able to take them as a protectorate. The Belgians, too, now that I'm thinking on it. What about the French? Can't do that. Right, there's that dealt with. 2nd X-Force. We'll also send that to the main front. I would like to be very confident. Actually, no. 2nd X-Force I'm going to send to the Baden front, and then we'll grab the 3rd Iberian Army and put them on the main front, because I feel a desire to be extremely confident over there. Alright. 4th Global Defense Force, you can head to the African front with the Russians. That shouldn't be a problem. And there's the Connacht secession finished. Oh, interesting. They seem to have become free. And they've got a truce with us, which is unfortunate. Anyway. Well, Defense Force, you can come back. Now, this does have the disadvantage of meaning that I will need to... this does have the... Persia's independent. Not for long, they're not. This does have the disadvantage of meaning that I will need to... if either of these movements pop off, I will need to deal with them whilst I have all my... that will be an impediment to demobilizing my other forces. But I don't think that's going to happen, so I'm not too worried. Delicious water. We've been making pretty good time this time. How long have we been going? 2 hours. Okay, well, it's a far cry from the 2.5 hours to 10 years idea that I was kicking around in my head when I first started doing longer episodes. But, you know, it's fine. It's chill. It's relaxed. Alright, Duala Uprising should be sorted within a very reasonable time frame. Ooh, actually, there's another front that I am not attending to that I should attend to. And what's this? An independent front in Württemberg. Heck it, Verdum's your burg. Follow me for more high-quality jokes. I say follow me for more whatever, as though you're not here in... What are we, episode 8, 9 of our Let's Play here? Songhai leadership, a Songhai politician with secessionist sympathies, has risen to prominence in the rural folk. Have you heard who spoke at their last rally? To think the opposition gives credence to Songhai propaganda now. The sitting government would never host such a speaker like that, which incidentally was the exact argument made in the speech itself. A Songhai political leader unthinkable. 2% of Songhai pops in the Iberian Federation become more radical. A Songhai agitator will appear in the country. The Songhai national movement will lose 10% progress. Or anyone can make it in the Iberian Federation. I'm going to pick the second one. That's just going to cause the guy to appear. No other issues. Alright, we're sinking a lot of enemy convoys. Yeah, we're in the English Channel right now. And that's fine. I wonder if actually I should build myself another fleet. But currently we're building a lot of power plants. Actually, we're not building hardly any power plants at this stage. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. We powered the country. So, I think... At this point, we've powered the whole empire, so I think I should be able to electrify the railways in the entire empire, and then we'll kind of see how things look in terms of steam power and everything. So we'll do this as soon as these are finished. Oh no, all these are outside the empire, so I can do this now. So, we'll set to development buildings, railways. Let's go to electric. Ports will go to modern. That's should have been before. Some places we can't do electric railways. That's curious. Well, I wonder if this is just because we own a lot of places in other countries. I think that's what's up with that. Power plants were still in coal-fired everywhere. But this is going to require additional power in Iberia, probably. So let's take a look in a book. Just kidding, not in a book. We're looking at the country. Okay, so first of all, we'll do Leon, Asturias, and all of the Portuguese provinces except for Antar Douro and Minho. So, you need 3 additional levels of power plants. Not a big deal. Leon, you need 4 additional levels of power plants. Not a big deal. Beira, you need 4 additional levels. Actually, you need 5 additional levels. Extremadura, you need a whole mess of levels. You're going to need like 16 levels or something like that. We'll do 15. We'll do 16. It'll be fine. Alentejo, you're going to need simply 2 levels. I'm going to put... Alright, back to the market screen. And now we need Extremadura, Baja Andalusia, and Murcia. Extremadura, you need a nice, even 50 levels total. Baja Andalusia, you need a bunch more, like a whole mess. Let's go up to 60 and see how it looks. And then Murcia, you need just a few more levels. I think 3 more levels. Alright, that's not so bad at all. The private sector can handle the rest. And all this is going to get done really fast because I got a million freaking construction sectors. I only went up to 290. That's silly. That was dumb. Well, we'll just throw all these construction sectors at the top of the queue then. And everything will be well. How goes the war? That's right, I'm in a war. How's it going? It seems like it's going fine. Seems like I got troops on every front. Dealing with all the things I gotta deal with. To Sicilies, would you be happy to have your autonomy reduced? You would be. Subject payments. And then I can't seize territory from them just yet. But they'll be going down in Liberty Desire at a good, healthy clip. So it's not going to be too long before I can fix all this up. And give their stuff to Occitania. Now, how much longer have I got a truce with Algeria? I got a truce with Algeria for another 27 months. And what about this situation? Amazonia is lower in Liberty Desire. Para's getting there. Brazil is... Okay, they're in low Liberty Desire. Ooh. I could reduce their autonomy. I want to real bad. But unfortunately, I cannot quite yet. And by cannot, I simply mean I don't want to interrupt. Because Two Sicilies is still, like, right on the cusp of, at 75, and if they can get above 75, they can create a problem. And I don't wish them to create a problem. It's as simple as that. Are we having difficulties moving forward here on the main front here? Because if so, I will be very salty. Oh no, we're moving west first. That's what's happening. Alright, curious. Weird decision, but I'm here for it. Brunei Uprising. This sounds like it needs a dose of a global defense force to deal with it. Yeah, see, this is what I was talking about. See, with these like cascading wars, I'm gonna potentially find myself in a situation where I can't get all my fellas demobilized once this war is done. With that having been said, this war seems like it's gonna be a nice long war, so I'm not too worried about all that. I realize that I haven't been as conscientious about paying attention to what is actually going on in this war as I could be, but you know, I'm sitting pretty. I'm sitting prettiest. Let's get the first global defense force over to West Africa to deal with the Songhai movement. Songhai is a medieval African empire that became quite powerful. Maybe not as powerful as Mali, who are of course the famous one of the famous African empires that you end up hearing a lot about. Or that I heard about in school. Famously, the Mansa of Mali. So this is, I want to say, like the 1400s. Or no, I think this is earlier than that. But it's not too much earlier than that. Maybe it was the 14th century. Maybe I'm completely misremembering. It doesn't matter. The man's name was Musa. He was the Mansa of Mali. And during his Hajj, his pilgrimage to Mecca, which is... it's in this area somewhere. I think we're in the wrong view, or it would highlight itself. I'm not gonna. I'm close enough here, y'all. I'll go. I got the broad region. During his pilgrimage to Mecca, because Mali was so stuffed full of gold, the earth in Mali was so full of gold. He was giving away so much gold that he basically crashed the economy of Egypt. It's one of the all-time funniest things to ever happen in history, in my humble opinion, as a person who wasn't there and didn't have to deal with the outcome of it. I think it's pretty cool. I love bonkers history facts. There are so many of them. Dirt. Persia's going after dirt. One of these days, I'll take Persia as a protectorate. It's going to happen sooner or later. And I'm out of stuff to construct once again. Now, how's transport looking? Transport's mostly looking good. Just a few places where we're building railroads. Well, Sonora doesn't have a railroad. Yeah, I think I'm going to build railways anywhere there's not a railroad. There's the Brunei Uprising. Okay, no, that's everyone. Alright, interesting. Alright, so from here... Okay, curious. Oh, Great Britain got some of that territory as well. Alright, neat. Well, them's the bricks. I need to be more careful about those national uprisings, because that's something that I could easily... Like, I feel like I could take more advantage of those to accomplish useful things. Like seizing territory and stuff. The Metropolitan Railway. The grand opening of the Madrid Metropolitan Railway was received with much celebration. In a speech, the president congratulated the engineers who made this possible. It is not only the railway which is electrified, but the whole city of Madrid. The streets are abuzz with citizens marveling at the wonders of technology, speculating about what new innovations will come to transform our lives for the better. The engineers deserve a reward. Railway building throughput. 50% of engineers become more loyal, or our railways will be the envy of the world. 50% railway throughput, 25% railway throughput. No, it's 25% railway throughput either way. So we're choosing between 25 prestige or more loyal engineers. I'm going to pick more loyal engineers this time, actually. Unregulated automobiles. Due to a spate of accidents, there have been calls to regulate automobiles. It is being reported that an automobile struck a man who was crossing the street, killing him. Faster than a horse and twice as heavy. People don't see why that's dangerous? I don't know what to tell you. Stricter laws make safer streets. Reduce motor industry's throughput. Industrialists unhappy. People merely need to adjust. Industrialists happy. Or automobiles should have the right of way. 5% of lower strata pops become more radical. I almost always do people merely need to adjust. I'm going to do stricter laws make safer streets. And I'm going to see what comes of that. Because I feel like I'm in a very solid position at this point in the game. I'm very far ahead. I'm feeling extremely confident in my ability to do and accomplish whatever I wish at the closing decades of the game. We're closing in on the end of the game. France, who are you going after? You're going after Sind. Again. Why do you keep making sins? I write sins, not tragedies. Sorry. That was extremely dumb, and I apologize. I am so very dumb. So very, very dumb. Do the Prussians have war support protection? Seems like they do not. So I guess we can't be doing it all wrong. Wow, that's a pretty impressive kill death. Although I've achieved better, but not in Victoria 3. Well, I am really been keeping track of my kill death in Victoria 3. Hearts of Iron 4, I keep track of my kill death. Ending the slave trade. Alfonso Costa, leader of the intelligentsia and a well-known opponent of the global slave trade, argues that our colonial ambitions in Guinea should be leveraged towards ending the practice on the continent. Ending slavery within our borders is a meager victory in the grand perspective of human history. As long as there are countries in this world willing to sell slaves, there will be countries coming to buy them, and vice versa. The concept must be stamped out wherever it can be found, so that eventually it can be stamped out in the human soul itself. We have a duty to end slavery wherever our power reaches. Stronger colonial growth generation and colony growth speed, intelligentsia happy, commitment to this goal may lead to events later. Practical diplomacy must supersede such moralist sentiments, intelligentsia unhappy, or the local slave trade could be a good source of workforce for our local projects. Intelligentsia very unhappy, extra plantations throughput. I'm going to do the first one. We got a moral duty, blah, 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 blah. We all know how that goes. Alright, speaking of which, Venezuela, you done doing voting? Not quite yet. They're getting there. They're getting there. They're figuring it out. International exchange standards. Excellent. Peru, Bolivia. Why don't you do some real voting? They're doing it. They're working on universal suffrage. Ecuador, you need to also do a real voting system. You're a council republic, for freak's sake. You'll be able to get there. You can do it, Ecuador. I believe in you. Everyone else is doing real voting in South America, right? Your census suffrage, it's close. Now, let's, it's time to do women's suffrage. Ethno-state? Hell's going on over there, Costa Rica? You goobers. Well, anyway, now women are gonna vote. Coherent government policy. That meme of screeching off the highway towards whatever the fuck this is. Nicaragua, women's suffrage. Honduras, women's suffrage. El Salvador, women's suffrage. Guatemala, women's suffrage. Why is it on the top in some places and at the bottom in others? And Russia's bailed out of the war. Very good. Cuba, women's suffrage. Santo Domingo, women's suffrage. And finally, Argentina. Argentina doesn't have feminism yet. You haven't yet discovered feminism. You need to get frickin' right of assembly. So you stop using text spread. Ooh, we got the stormtroopers deck. That's nice. Chile. Women's suffrage. Everyone likes it. Alright, nice. Hooray for liberalism. Morocco, what about you? You're still an autocracy. Dude, vote some, why don't you? They said soon. We'll see. Oh, Ethiopia got successfully founded. That's pretty cool. Now that you've founded a country, why don't you vote? The mob approaches. Okay, I wasn't paying attention to events. Belligerent crowds have been getting increasingly provocative when confronting troops in Timbuktu. Hardliners in government are demanding tougher responses, while others are calling for troops to stand down as the first helpful step in de-escalation. A whiff of grape shot solved the day once, and it can be done again. I'm telling you, we need to show strength right now. Strength? Ha! Bullets are an admission of weakness. We need to talk, show them we're not afraid. That's how we'll get them. Disperse the crowds by force, or order the troops to stand down. So, each of these have a 50% chance of success or failure. If we disperse the crowds by force, the failure condition is 5% of pops become more radical in Timbuktu, or the Songhai National Movement reduces by 10% on a success. If we order the troops to stand down, on a success, the pops become more loyalist, 2%. On a failure, the secession progresses by 5%. I'm always going to pick that second one because getting more loyalists in the area is what causes us not to have a revolution problem. South Africa, you're doing an oligarchy? Oh, God, you're also doing an ethno-state. An ethno-state in Africa? Come on! You goobers. 10,000 years cultural exclusion. Can't believe they tried to do that. Did I... Okay, I need to change the language of the administration in some of these areas. Iberian Congo. Change language of mystery. Sokoto, you old so-and-so, what do your laws look like? Hey, you're voting. Maybe you should have women vote. Oh man, I'm going to have traditionalist revolts all across my empire as a result of this, but it's worth it. Alright, so, Sokoto enacting women's suffrage. I have a Quechua revolt. That's against Peru, Bolivia. That's unfortunate. Let's go ahead and grab the... Hold on. Before this war ends, I'm actually going to pull my forces back to Iberia so that I don't wind up in a situation. It's like, I feel that Austria is completely capable of handling this business by themselves. Second X-Force is in the middle of a fight. 6th Global Defense Force can go to handle Quechua uprising. Nationalist Opera. The performance of an opera with nationalist revolutionary themes at the upcoming festival is being openly associated with the Songhai secession movement by its proponents. Monday the 23rd, fireworks. Tuesday the 24th, illuminations. Wednesday the 25th, revolution. Cancel the fireworks, 2% of Songhai pops become more radical. Cancel the illuminations, 5% of Songhai pops become more radical. Reduces the secession progress, but costs bureaucracy. Or cancel the revolution, reduce authority, secession progress minus 15%. I'm going to do the first one. I think a few radicals are fine. That probably was dumb, but the fact is I don't... Man, sorry. I'm very tired. I don't want to lose the authority. That's the end of what the heck I'm trying to say. I don't want to lose the authority. Communist revolt in South Africa. Interesting. Let's get the Global Defense Force on our way over there. You know, it was pretty dumb to do this during this time period where I am, to do this whole women's suffrage thing during this time period where I'm fighting a bunch of wars, but, you know, it's the nature of the beast. Let's get this X-Force back to Iberia as well. And what we'll do is we'll slowly work on demobilizing these armies. Starting with the 3rd Iberian Army. We'll demobilize them. At the end of the year, we'll do the 2nd and then the 1st later. These wars we should be able to finish out pretty quickly. I don't really anticipate these going a long time. Let's send another Global Defense Force to South Africa. And we'll send another Global Defense Force to South America, just to make sure that these go down without a hitch, and we don't wind up with a headache. 4th Global Defense Force is, I think, on their way to South America. Are they not? No. Where are you going? Oh, you're going to this front. All right, that's fine. That's fine. You're going where you're meant to be going. Mysore uprising against the French. That's fine. I don't need to deal with that. And there is the battleship. 2 arms. Alright, so I'm going to take both of my main fleets. I'm going to pull them back to the home country, and I'm going to upgrade them. 2nd Home Guard, you, sir, need a promotion. Polynesian National Awakening in Tahiti. That's exciting. The primary fleet needs a new leader. Actually, it needs a lot of new leaders. Both of these guys are ancient. Oh, this is a trade unionist guy. We'll give him mega promotions. You have no experience in the right ideology. How would you like to lead a fleet? Let me see. This guy's a brave dockyard organizer and a Republican. This guy is a moderate, a naval commander and explorer. He's tactical. We'll give him a little promotion. Now we seem extremely low on bureaucracy. So, I will grab the government admin and lines. Switch them all to telephone switchboards. Hopefully that'll sort them. There's the Incan secession crushed. And then finally, we have our communist uprising in Iberia and South Africa. It's getting on towards the end of the year, but I'm going to wait and hope that this thing just sorts itself out, and then the Herero national movement again. Oh, they stopped before, but now they're angry again. All right. Well, they're angry still, really. All right, so this should sort itself out, and then I think we'll be able to demobilize all our armies. Lost a general. Ooh, first global defense force needs a new leader. I'll pick this guy. He's at least an armed forces guy. I only got industrialists, fellas. It's not ideal. I'll give him a promotion, I guess. Try to generate the command capacity we need. It seems that I actually do need additional governance capacity. Is there anywhere I'm short on taxation capacity? There is. Unser Doro e Minho. I actually need a barrel full of taxation capacity. Let's put 10 levels here just for nice even numbers. And then how's the market going? How are things going in the market? We still need more art, but that's okay. We can make as many movies as we like. We'll go to urban buildings. Diesel engines. How much oil have I got? Diesel engines are very efficient at producing engines, but also extremely oil intensive. You know, I'm okay. I don't think that's sufficient use for oil. Okay, I can finally go to mass production for automotive. That's good. Then I can go to assembly line. That's also good. Is it finally going to be efficient for me to increase labor saving in my steel mills? Looks like no. What about motor industries? You say it'll be good if I do assembly lines. Okay, that seems right. What if I do rotary valve in the steel mills? Okay, you seem like you're doing better now. Alright, so that's good. Now what if I go to assembly lines for tooling? That's better. Alright, paper mills, rotary valve, you're better. Now what if I go to nitrogen fixation for fertilizer? Oh no. Oh no, you don't like... Wait. No, you can like that. You're just... You need all the other farms on chemical fertilizers. And then you'll be happy, right? You'll be happy producing more fertilizer, right? They won't be. Alright, we'll go back to improved fertilizers for now. What does that do to my fertilizer needs? Ah, they're mostly okay, actually. Alright, furniture manufacturers. Do you do well with assembly lines? You do. Textile mills. Automatic power looms? No, you don't like that. We'll go back to traditional. Alright, so from here, we'll put arms industries, artillery manufactories, and munitions plants all on assembly lines. I think that makes sense. And then we'll need to do a check of how much electricity we need. We'll give that a second to sort itself out. Our wars have finished, which means our armies have demobilized. Alright, beautiful. How's Two Sicilies doing? You are getting down there in Liberty Desire. Very good. So, from here, I've enabled a lot of methods that take a lot of electricity. So, let's see how that looks. Okay, it's bad for in a lot of the metropole. We'll do Murcia, Valencia, and Asturias first. And then Alta Andalusia. Okay, you need... golly. I think 20 levels. Not actually 20 levels. It's not as bad as it looks. We'll do 16 levels here. Murcia, local electricity prices 1,000. We'll put her in a nice even 12 levels. Alta Andalusia, you need a huge number. Just add 40 levels there, and hopefully that'll sort it. And then Asturias, I believe. Yeah, 980. You need another 12 levels at least. Is that going to cover it? I think that'll cover it. Now, let's see. We need País Vasco and Castilla la Vieja. Let's see. An additional 20 levels of power plants should be fine here. Castilla la Vieja. We'll get you up to a nice even 70. And then we need all the Portuguese, all the formerly Portuguese provinces except for Extremadura need more power. All right, we'll bring you up to a nice even 80. Beira, that was Anterduero y Minho. Looks like you just need another 10 levels. And Alentejo, you just need 3 more levels. Now, Islas Baleares, you need 12 levels. Islas Baleares is incorporated, but they're still good on taxation capacity with no government. That's efficiency. Now, where else do we need power? We need a lot of power in these areas here. In Mali. How much more do we need? Another 2 levels. There's the Songhai Uprising. 1 more level in eastern Mali. And then what was the other one? There was one near the coast. Yes. Ivory Coast we need, and then this is... That's Denmark. We can't do anything about that. 2 more levels here. Alright, we'll send one of our global defense forces. No big deal. Oh, this isn't the Songhai Uprising. Oh, no, it is. It's just called Gao. Alright, cool. And obviously that's going to take plenty of time, but that's okay. French max immigrant. Wow. France is really... We really borked France real good with our breaking off Occitania, huh? Got him good. You're doing okay right now, right? Australia, you're not doing anything really disgusting? You have peasant levy, that's not ideal. Slavery is banned. You have anti-strike laws, no workers' rights, and censorship. You know what? Have a national militia. You deserve it. They're deferring enacting it for now, but that's okay. I don't actually... Now, Iberian East Indies. You are under subjecthood. That's fine. Let them vote! Ah, they said no. Well, I guess we'll make them ban slavery next, then. Oh, man. We're very silly out here. Alright. So... Two Sicilies. How are you doing? Getting down there in Liberty Desire. Now, can I hand off can I hand off Provence to Occitania? Oh, I'm in a freaking diplomatic play. The answer is no, I can't, but not for the reason I was thinking about. So this is just kind of what the late game is like when you're at anything other than cultural exclusion or multiculturalism. Again, I suppose I could go to multiculturalism. That would be potentially quite feasible. In fact, it would be extremely funny. But I don't necessarily... Well... I got so many movements. You know what? Let's do it. A lot of my interest groups would be biggest mad, but I think we can make it work. I said we were going to do smiley, happy, liberal colonialism, and we're doing it. We're doing it live. Actually, these chances look really good. We're getting a lot of... Oh, because our leader's an anarchist. Oh, that's very funny. Based. Extremely based. Yet also extremely based. Alright, so now that we're not in the diplomatic play anymore, can I swap states around now, or do I need to wait until the end of the war? Nah, I need to wait until the end of the war. That's okay, though. This war is not going to take too long. In fact, I think it will go very quickly indeed. I know we're in the process of doing a classic progressive Western country maneuver of shooting at the reformists and then implementing the reform. Alright, so, grant states. Sicily and Provence. This will increase the liberty desire of 2 Sicilies by 20. That's okay. And then, so that puts them at Midland. And then Emilia needs to go to the hands of Sardinia Piedmont. Well, it is what it is. They're going to probably ask for greater autonomy, but I'm going to say no. Then their liberty desire is going to go down to the point where they don't care anymore. So, all will be well. I guess Austria does keep breaking off bits of Russia, don't they? Well, them's the breaks, I suppose. So, Persia. How would you like to be my protectorate? Would anyone stop me if I did this? No, they would not. No. That's fine. How insulting would it be if I simply sent one export? If I simply sent one global defense force. But I'm not going to do that. I forgot to hit the upgrade button for these dreadnoughts. So now I'm going to hit the upgrade button for these dreadnoughts. And that will make my fleets stronger. 68 force comparison, that's rock solid. Let's go ahead and throw mobilize one home guard as well. Ooh, we're in steady. Excellent. I've actually never had this smooth a process to multiculturalism. This is cool. This is cool. So hopefully this should deal with all these cascading revolutions. In fact, all these movements have fallen down in completely in desire to be a movement. So in activism. Activism is the answer to that question. So I think we are good to go. Now, I think we are going to need some additional construction capacity. I'm going to bring us up to 400. I think that should be plenty. 4, 5. Wow. And then yeah, we'll max out 1, 2, 3. Not Asturias. They're having trouble hiring. 3, 4, and 5. Did those build already? They did. I wonder if those... Oh, no, we're actually just literally at the end of our construction capacity. That's absurd. That's absurd. Oh, man, the Catholic Church is biggest mad. They're madder than they've ever been. Oh, we got an election popping off. Hell yeah. And what do we have? God's will. Celestino Diaz of the Catholic Church has been seen preaching in favor of the Catholic Party, convinced that their victory has been foreseen in God's plans. Do you think God would not have a plan for our pious nation? Of course there's a plan. There must always be a plan. I've seen it myself, let me tell you. I've seen it as clear as I see you all right now, just before my eyes. And who else to lead this adrift government other than those who can clearly read that plan? Who are we to stand against God's will? Catholic Church, slightly stronger. Such a shame the nation is not ruled by God then, he becomes less popular. Or, but surely God wants the Progressive Party to win. Extra momentum for them. They've got a little bit of momentum, but not much. Hey, let them eat momentum. It's going to weaken the Conservatives, and that's fine. All of our parties are actually fairly midland in momentum, so this is actually representative of where we are in terms of our balance of stuff. You know, Bulgaria, you would be doing better if you were a subject of my empire. Maybe I'll take over Algeria soon. Actually, that peace is about to finish, so maybe that truce is about to finish, so maybe I shall. Maybe I shall. Or maybe I'll go after the Dutch. I still have a truce with them for another 9 months. But that's not that long. I could do it. And there's war with Persia. We've got oil in Pastaza. Democratic solidarity. In a pro-suffrage gesture, Charles Hick has released a positive endorsement of the Communist Party for its stalwart support of voting rights in the Iberian Federation. There is no issue in our republic greater than that of the franchise. That method through which the people may decide any future issue which comes their way. With this in mind, my endorsement should come as no surprise. The Communist Party is the guardian of the Iberian franchise, 30% momentum for them. Or perhaps some party members more than others, 20% momentum for the Communist Party and increased attraction for the trade unions. I'm just going to go with the momentum. I've never gone wrong focusing on momentum during election season. How are things going over here? They seem like they're going fine. Giants of the Sea. Candido dos Reis' use of battleships during the ongoing war has demonstrated that these massive constructions may still serve a purpose in modern naval warfare. The young girl looked wide-eyed at the ship in the harbor. It looks like it took all the world's steel to build it. How many such boats are there? Of this immensity, the Admiral replied, only one. But you can be sure that as soon as our enemies find out about it, there will be two amiss. Their presence will be a compelling argument, extra influence. By their might, we will rule the seas, extra prestige from Navy power projection. Or we will put this tactical experience to use, extra progress on modern battle fleet tactics. I'm going to go with the prestige from Navy power projection. I think that's the right call. I still could stand to have a bigger Navy. The Brits have a big Navy. Not as big of a Navy as I would have thought. Actually, a lot of these other countries don't have much of a Navy. What about Japan? Surely Japan's got a big Navy. Not that much. Austria? Turkey, yeah? Nope. I got the biggest Navy by far. That's why I'm winning. All these people forgot you could put guns on a boat. Damn. The secret technique of gun on boat. Nobody can defeat it. Oh yeah, I turned Baden into a protectorate. Yeah, they're going down in Liberty Desire. Let's improve relations with them. Ah, oh, God, I'm so dumb. Alright, so I got everything I need to get out of the two sisters. Let's improve relations again to make sure that they're staying happy. They're going down in Liberty Desire extremely, extremely fast. So, once they get down below 65, we can start converting other countries. Feared but not loved. Holstein owing us an obligation can be used to request a propaganda campaign, making the world see our nation in a more pleasant light. It It is well for a nation to be respected, feared even, but can we truly expect them to support us in the future if most Holsteinian children grow up hearing stories about who will eat them if they don't behave? Everyone should remember how we came to their aid. In a week, we'll request they do a propaganda campaign to reduce our infamy. Or why, when we're a nation to be feared, nothing happens. I'm going to pick the first one. I always do that. It's nice to get a little bit of free infamy reduction. Most of the time, countries say no because most of these obligations are from, like, internal political events. Do I actually have the ability to colonize these areas? I do not. That's all Iberia. Oh, they did it! They did it! Nice. Good on you, Holstein. That's all Liberia, rather. The grand plan pays off. Antonio Maura, the methodical leader of the petite bourgeoisie, has been studiously working to increase the nation's credit. At last all his work is paid off, but for the petite bourgeoisie or for the Iberian Federation. The man is so pleased with his act that he looks like he's about to burst into flames of contained emotion. How charming. Professionally speaking, though, not the most clever move. Yes! Just as planned! Imagine this guy leaning against the window going, yes! Ha ha ha! Yes! A shirt that says sickos on it. The petite bourgeoisie shall reap the rewards, extra momentum for the Conservative Party, or the Iberian Federation shall reap the rewards, increased gold reserve limit, and reduced interest rate. I'm going to go for the second one. It does seem to always be that. Let's see if we can get multiculturalism complete before the election. That'll be fun. Huzzah! Alright, well that should lead to much more stability in the empire. This has certainly led to a shortage of taxation capacity. Let me see, Castilla Vieja is where that is. How much taxation capacity do we need here? Not that much, actually. Why are we... Oh, because the petite bourgeoisie are not providing their middle manager's bonus. Well, that's... Yeah, they're going to take plenty of time to deal with that. So, I think we'll just build up some government admin. Hey, military aviation. Excellent. What if we just built a comical amount of taxation capacity in the capital? I think that makes the most sense. We need to cut some consumption taxes. So we'll do it. Actually, fruit is going to get us the entire way there. And I'll lower taxes. That's what I'll do. I completely forgot I was... See, I did that thing where I completely forgot what my taxation situation was. And that caused me to stumble and have stupid tax policy. In fact, we'll go down to very low. That'll be nice. Very low taxation during a war? What a stupid idea. But we're doing it. And what is this? This is an Albanian uprising against our subject, Turkey. Mobilize the global defense force. Speaking of which, Turkey, what's your policy? Got a lot of rebellions, Turkey. You mentioned strike laws. You have protected speech, though. That's pretty cool. Have a right to associate, please. Excellent. Morocco, how's voting going? Ah, they're working on it. Sokoto, what about you? Women voting, very nice. Venezuela, you gotta deal with this slavery thing, man. And there's the election. Wonderful. Things are going great. Teresa Claremont has really made things extremely chill in the country. Alternate history achieved. Let's take over Algeria, shall we? USA might fight us, and if they do, then them's the breaks. If they do, then we'll see what happens. They also don't have much of a fleet. Golly gee willikers. All these other countries seem extremely poorly. I'm going to stop damaging relations with the Netherlands. I genuinely don't think I need to damage relations with them too much. I could... oh, I'm getting very close to the point where I could actually take them as a protectorate. That'll be fun. But my priority, of course, is to, yeah, okay, fine. How rude would it be if I mostly didn't mobilize my units? What if I just mobilized the first time? Alright, balls in your court, USA. You want to send dudes? Send dudes. I don't care. Oh, no, I got fronts over here. Well... here's the thing. As long as I've got fronts with them, you know, I might as well. Hold on. Manitoba front. Oh, Manitoba front is, yeah, the north and south, and then there's a front in Skopje, which is over here. No, they are separate fronts. Hold on. Hold on. Sahara front, that's there. Skopje front, that's there. Isfahan front. Oh, right, with Persia. Yes, 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 yes. Alright, that's fine. And we'll send the other X-Force. Alright, so what can I reasonably get out of the United States? I can seal Nova Scotia and Hawaii, which I'll do. Like, obviously that seems like the right call. Hawaii. And then... ooh! You know what, Mexico? Today's your lucky day. Here we go. Ah, oh, what a shame. That's okay. But I still got a bunch of infamy. Interesting. Because there was a period in this game's history where if you did a war goal, if you put war goals in, then they didn't get enforced. Hey, buddy, you want to be a protectorate yet? There was a period where if you put war goals in, but they didn't get enforced, the infamy went away. Or not if they didn't get... If the country backed down, you didn't get... and there was no war, and you didn't get to steal your war goals, then it didn't happen. You didn't get infamy. Or the infamy didn't stick around. But I guess that's not true anymore, or maybe it's just not true under certain contexts. Anyway, Persia will be done soon. I think this Albanian uprising will sort itself out really, really fast. Excellent. Now we shall improve relations. Relations shall never be better between Persia and her Spanish overlords. Her Iberian overlords. Excuse me, we are not Spain, we are Iberia. We are Iberia. Standard of living's dipped a little bit. Well, now I feel silly because I got all that infamy and I didn't get anything out of it. That's a little weird. That's a little weird. I thought they'd sorted that. So maybe that's a function which has become bugged. How is this front going? It's going pretty well. We got pretty rock solid occupation here. Should get more at the end of this battle. That might put us not quite finished with the war yet, but getting very close. North German mass immigration. Wallonian mass immigration as well. How much gold reserves do we have related to our limit? Yeah, I should build more stuff. How are we doing with goods? We're doing really, really well overall. If I subvene the export of grain, will that make everyone biggest mad? I don't think so. Interesting. Private sector isn't producing a lot more steel, which is curious. I need rubber, and I need it bad. That said, I don't know that there's a lot of places like... Oh! I've got diesel pump engine for mines. Let's do it. Compression ignition tractors, don't mind if I do. So what does that do? That's going to increase the price of oil. But we have more places we can get oil out of. Let's take a quick look at oil and at rubber. Let's max out rubber in Zambezia. Max out rubber in Accra. Bangishari. Central Java. Santo Domingo. South Angola. Nigeria. Visayas. I'm just building rubber plantations out the wazoo, y'all. San Salvador, don't mind if I do. Guerrero, and Iberian East African Kenya. Alright. So that's going to lead to a significant increase in the amount of rubber produced in our empire. Now, oil rigs. Built a lot more oil in Alberta. Yeah, let's build up Alberta. Alberta's going to need more infrastructure. But that's actually a really significant increase. I think that'll probably produce enough oil in terms of our overall oil needs. Let's build up Houseland and... Oh man, I got a lot of oil capacity in this here empire. Let's do East Houseland and let's max out Santa Fe. And that should be enough. And then I need to build railroads in Alberta. That's Ontario. Manitoba, Saskatchewan, Alberta. Here we go. Oh my. You need world market access, but you also need railways, and a lot of them, to accommodate all of the oil that we're going to build up in your country. Right, so the rubber's going first. But the oil's coming soon, so putting those at the front of the queue is probably the right play. So, now... Two Sicilies is still getting down there in Liberty Desire. They're basically where they need to be. They're getting close. They're getting close. I need to be a little conscientious, but not too conscientious. I think we're going to start with Brazil here. And then we'll just kind of cycle through the others. Obviously, this is going to lead to a lot of Liberty Desire in a lot of different countries, but, you know, I'm not too worried about that, to be completely honest. I'm going to wait a little longer. I want to get my infamy down below 25. A little bit of a drop in standard of living. Am I experiencing unemployment? I am, actually. Let's... Since we're experiencing a rare moment of not war, yeah, there we go, 13,000. Very nice. We're doing very well in prestige. Let me see. Where is unemployment? Do I not have an unemployment view? That's curious. Maybe... Okay, let's take a quick look around. I just want to make sure there's not high unemployment anywhere in the metropole. I do have significant peasant populations now since I kicked off all those labor-saving methods. But we're exporting so much, like we really, really are. Well, heck it. Let's increase the size of the automotive industry. And the steel industry. Why don't we? Who says you can't? Castilla Vieja, you've got steel production, do you not? You don't, actually. Well, great place for a massive number of steel mills. And we're going to put the coal mines at the top to make sure that there's coal for production of all that steel. And railways are getting built before the oil's getting built before the railways, but that's okay. These things happen. All play and no work. General Cristofo Cuadrado's personal habits are starting to get in the way of his role as a general. He smiles at the officer. Cristofo Cuadrado smiles at the officer, exultantly, avidly. His eyes have obviously seen better days. Carefully recumbent on his leather armchair, his voice comes out as rubbery as the material. It's a stressful job, you know. No need to make it more stressful. Fire him, he's fired, or he's too valuable. So which guy are you? You're a wrathful mountain combat expert. You're aligned with the Catholic Church. Interesting. Fired. Does that goof one of my armies? It does. The 1st Iberian X-Force. You're an armed forces fella. So go ahead and get yourself a promotion. That'll provide enough command capacity for that army, no problem. Do a promotion. The armed forces demand the promotion of Brigadier General Sebastian Cebrian, touting his history of loyal and effective service. So many medals adorned his jacket that one could scarcely see the fabric beneath, but it was not yet enough. Chest puffed out with pride, the general smiled as he imagined the look on de Mura's face when the field marshal learned of his imminent ascension. Their rivalry was legendary among the officers. At last, he would have his due. Sebastian Cebrian has earned it. Armed forces happier, he gets promoted to Major General. Or the armed forces will not force their hand. Armed forces unhappy, trade unions happy, he loses popularity. So who's Cebrian? He's another wrathful mountain combat expert, but he's also an offensive planner and charismatic, a liberal aligned with the armed forces. Promote this man. Armed forces are happy. The only people who are really unhappy are the Catholic Church. Petit bourgeoisie are a little happy since they like racial segregation, but multiculturalism is cool and based, so we're doing it. I'm losing a lot of money, but I've got so much in the reserve that it kind of doesn't matter. So, you know, we're just building up oil rigs. It'll be good for the country long term to build up oil rigs. Let's see. I could definitely increase the size of my electrics industry. Where have I got labor available? Quite a few places, actually. Extremadura actually doesn't have an electrics industry. What about Leon? Not so much there either. Where's my electrics industry? Where do my telephones come from? I will not use the building browser. Okay, here we go. Castilla Vieja. Time for. I guess we're building a lot in Castilla Vieja. Plenty of infrastructure available though, so I'm not too worried about that. May need to increase trade and/or taxation capacity in order to make it happen, but that's not a big deal. Jesus, we have a ton of construction capacity. It's comical. Am I still getting the... Oh, I have electricity shortage. Gold Coast, Madeira, Dahomey. Let's see. Madeira. Yep. You need 5 levels of power output. You got those railways building. Gold Coast is here. Sierra Leone and Gold Coast. Weird. You need 1 more level, and then Dahomey, you need... Huh. You seem fine, actually. Oh, you just can't hire. Is it a population issue? No? Curious. Have some logging camps. I'm mostly relying on the private sector to develop the empire. That's probably not a problem in the long term. Alright, so 2 Sicilies is below 65. Brazil? Time for you to be proper puppet state. Can reduce subject payments, as I obviously must do. And then let's take a look at their laws. Landed voting, legacy slavery, unbelievable. Universal suffrage for everyone. Yeah, okay. Alright, that's fine. Carry it out on your own time, will you? I suppose I should take a little bit of time to look at my subjects. I have 10 protectorates. Are any of them anywhere close to 75, except other than nope, not really. Alright, so that's good. Mato Grosso, you're actually not going down in Liberty Desire, which is curious. You're not very economically entangled with me. You will be going down faster once my infamy goes down. And hold on a second. Oh, these are you're animist and you're atheist. Interesting. That's very cool. We have some religious diversity in the empire as well. That's exciting. Well, I suppose we've got Algeria and Morocco as well, which are Muslim nations. So yeah. So things are chill. Things are chill and cool. And Persia. Persia's also Muslim. They're Shiite, whereas these ones are Sunni, I believe. Yes. Wunderbar. So, what else does our market need? It needs more movies. Not that I'm complaining. Everyone likes movies. Let's see. Where do we have productive? Oh, I can produce planes. I should work on that. Where do I have productive arts academies? Catalonia, 10 levels arts academies. Beira, 10 levels arts academies. Extremadura and Extremadura, 10 levels arts academies. Arts academies for 1,000 years. Alright. So I can produce planes with my automotive industry, so I'm not necessarily going to do that right now. But I could do with one of them. Let's produce planes in Madeira. Then we'll grab our things and we'll go down from the top. We'll do recon aircraft in all of our armies. That's going to create extra demand for aircraft during wars. But then for passive demand, I need the aircraft carrier, and that's realistically not going to happen because I'm not in the process of researching it, and it's going to be a while before I am. Oh, but it is spreading. Damn, someone else has aircraft carrier before I do? That's bananas. That's an entire banana republic. Let me see. Oh man, we're at over 3 hours now. But we're almost back on schedule. I was a year short during my last video. One year of gameplay fewer than usual. This is interesting. So I need the auto industries. I need to build up rubber. Gosh dang. I was still really short of rubber. Am I subvening exported rubber? I'm not. Oh man. Alright, well, we'll focus on the rubber industry. Wait. I need to close these. Rubber. Rubber. Got a little bit I can build up in Rift Valley, a little bit in Santa Cruz, a little bit in Sao Paulo. Am I truly maxed on rubber? A little bit in Oaxaca. Wait, hold on. There has to be. Oh, I wonder if there are places that I don't have it at all yet. Let's do rubber plantations. Okay, yes, there are places I just haven't built it at all. Alright. thought that was weird. I thought I had a lot more rubber producing capacity than I had accounted for. I'm just gonna rubber max in all these areas. Don't mind me. Alright, that's most of the rubber that I can build. Except for the rubber that I can build in Southeast Asia. Let's rely on African rubber for now. Because this is really a comical amount of rubber construction. That should go, okay, so that should go a long way to balancing my other needs. I still need more electronics. Or electrics, which, hey, it's chill. I got a lot of, so what else do I need? I need a lot more engines, I need a lot more cars, I need a lot more electronics. This should be increasing standard of living, at least. Alright, automotive industries. Galicia? 30 levels. Valencia? 30 levels. Yeah, 40 levels, whatever. That's actually plenty. That's going to increase automotive output by 50%. So that should be fine. Electrics. Let's throw 10 levels in Catalonia. Hey, get out of here. 10 levels, 20 levels in Baja Andalusia. And 10 levels in País Vasco. And that should... That'll provide an additional 25%, and that should be fine. Coal. I need coal. My empire probably has a ton of coal in the ground. It sure does. Alright. Sahara. Absolutely. In Morocco, we got a level there. Let's max out Benin. Benin should have a lot of coal. East Hausaland. Absolutely. And then we'll put a little bit in... You see, not a lot of labor available in a lot of these areas. But as we develop the industries, the labor will come. Namaqualand and Hibernoland, I realize I'm holding kind of indirectly. Iberian South Africa, I should just hand those areas off. The areas that I hold off to Iberian South Africa. But Iberian South Africa's like, people are not living as good. They're still working on cultural exclusion. They're not doing great there, but they're doing their best. All right, so this is a comical amount of construction, but we've got a comical amount of construction industry, and where our investment pool is just way out ahead of anything we have the capacity to fill. So in fact, I think the first thing we're going to do is max out construction industry into the rest of our areas. And if this seems silly to you, it does to an extent to me too. But we've got so much cash flow that it like... And there's macroeconomics, so we can do another company if we wish. I'm going to throw these at the top of the queue because I gotta get going with all this. I've got a lot of things I need to build, and I just need to build them. The private sector will be able to use all of this, so I'm not really worried about the cost even a little bit. In fact, it's absolutely fine. Okay, legislation. Morocco. Gosh dang it. Vote, you fools. Alright, Sokoto Unredacted. A book rejected for publication in Sokoto due to their restrictive laws has been accepted by an Iberian publisher. The printer's devil picked up an unfamiliar typeface. His master noticed his curiosity and nodded towards it. That's for a Sokoto book we're printing. Why are we printing Sokoto books here? The printer shrugged. It's a free country. The publisher should show more tact and respect our neighbors. Improves relations, makes our trade unions, landowners, and intelligentsia unhappy. Or, by the laws of the Iberian Federation, they have the right to print it. It deteriorates relations, makes our trade unions and landowners and intelligentsia happy. I'm going to pick the second one. I can fix this by improving relations. Get rid of slavery, though, please. You gotta stop doing that. It's not great. I know you're the Caliph and all, but you gotta stop it. Alright, Morocco. So you didn't want to let your people vote, huh? That's okay. But you gotta stop trading slaves. Come on. We've been over this. They've deferred enactment. Let's take a quick look at where we are with rubber right now. I just want to make sure I'm not completely overrunning the demand. They're enacting it very good. I'm not completely overrunning demand, but I will be once I finish this round. So I'm just going to throw all of these at the bottom of the queue. And we'll move on to something else once all the ones that are in progress finish. Wow, I sure did queue in just a bazillion rubber plantations. Maybe I'll subvene export of rubber. Maybe that's what I'll do. We'll focus on developing the industries in the metropole. Well, interesting. A lot of these places have a shortage of, have a construction efficiency debuff. Well, that's okay. These things happen. These things happen. I'm not being efficient, but my economy is too big to need to be, so, you know, them's the breaks. So yeah, so now we're building up our automotive stuff, and then we'll do the other stuff. Yeah. Any other companies? I'm at 4 out of 5. All my companies are extremely productive. Get my Navy offense. Anything that looks good. I could go for some migration traction, although population growth is kind of absurd, so I don't really need it. Maybe I will go with the Formation Speed Company. Maybe I'll go for a Precision Tools Company? Need to put a new general in that army. I've already got Design Clothes, Refined Steel, High-Powered Small Arms. You know what? We'll do it. Extra manufacturing industries throughput? Don't mind if I do. Alright, Iberian Metalworks. I don't have any free company charters, so I can't give them anything yet. But that's okay. Second Global Defense Force, you need... This guy's a market liberal, this guy's a radical. A radical. Alright, pretty good. No one likes him, that's fine. His job is not to be liked, his job is to lead the armies. Alright. We're actually out ahead of where we need to be. Maybe we'll go another year. Maybe we'll go another year. Not that much happening right now. Liberty Desire, 2 Sicilies is going down. Brazil is going down. Let's convert another South American state. And what kind of laws have you got? You're doing landed voting. At least you're not doing slavery. Hey, let them vote. They've deferred enacting it. Well, don't defer it too long. Hey, Venezuela, how's your frickin' slavery banning? It's going pretty well. Excellent. Can't believe I aced universal suffrage. That's absurd. They're not going down in prosperity. They're just pretending. They'll be fine. They're doing fine. Look, they're so happy. Alright. Mato Grosso. They're not going down as much. Confederation of the Equateur. They're still going. Bahia, they're getting there. Interesting. I would have thought those countries would be getting more, less desirous of liberty, but I suppose that is simply how these things go. Estonian mass immigration. Excellent. So after the automotives, it's the electrics, then the coal. And we sure do need the coal. It's for our economy. It's funny, I would have... In a lot of situations, the private sector just builds up these areas, but I guess it didn't end up happening this time around, which is quite curious. Again, usually it's very common for that to happen, but not this time apparently. Let me see. Am I really gonna let us hit 3.5 hours? I don't think so. I think we'll end it at the middle of the year. And then we'll just have a slightly shorter episode for our final episode of the series. And that will be fun. I mean, it's probably too late to say at this point, because it'll probably already be started by the time this comes out. But there are polls in the posts tab about what we're going to do for our next run. At this point, it's looking like we're going to do either Egypt or Persia. Two countries that I've played before, but are a rollicking good time to play. At this point, I don't know for certain, but I'm leaning towards Persia. It's been a while since I've done a Persia run. I had a very successful Persia run a long time ago that I did not record for the channel, because that was just during a time period where I wasn't recording Victoria 3 content for the channel because I didn't have a YouTube channel yet. But yeah, the Persia run's very rewarding. It lets you get it's a very fun overall setup. My improving relations. Oh, botany. That's right. That's Excite-like. So yeah, so that's what's on the agenda, and then we'll finish out this run. Maybe at some point I'll do something ridiculous and apocalyptic for our final episode. We'll see. I already did fight several gigantic wars over here, but you know, no reason to be normal when you can be weird. Heckin' weird all the time with this cat. So you know, we'll see how things go. Alright, that's mid-year, and that's the... Hey, we got the aircraft carrier. Well, now that I've got the aircraft carrier, I'm gonna build some aircraft carriers. So 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50. And then we'll do 45 levels of aircraft carriers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Alright. I'm just going to throw those at the top of the queue. They're going to get done really, really fast because they're military buildings. And then we're going to have some baseline demand for aircraft that's going to keep the automotive industries we have producing aircraft reasonable. Not that one. Alright. That is all the time we've got for this episode, my nerds. I have had fun. I hope you all have had fun, and I will see you on the other side.